by Joe, but I don't know. Like,
I checked my mic to turn it on, and I don't even have it on.
500, with Tesla 500 by the middle of the year, is that a hot take? I mean, the stock has done more than that in less before. Although I was just saying to Sean, like, this is one of those 2% that feels like 10 or at least like 5% down on Tesla, given what's happening. The market just, well, you guys know the market just broke the lows because the Playmaker trade just came out. But the good thing about that is it had to stop. NASDAQ up, but only 0.77. Tesla just made a fresh low of the day. 400 is going to be inbound. The ES as well, just pulling back, and now about 60-20 as we're only 0.5% up. But the biggest story to the downside, at least in a lot of the sense, has been what Tesla's been doing. The chip names have been strong all day long, and they're starting to pull back. I'm oddly enough short a reversion on Micron because Micron was just super strong all day, so it just broke trend and went into the short trade. It's bouncing off 100 as we speak. Let's see if we can get to 99. Keep in mind, you do have CES going on, AMD top of the hour here, or at the top of the hour, 2 o'clock, starting a little bit of a presentation. I haven't heard anything in my ear going on there for advanced micro devices. Yeah, so there's a lot to watch, no questions asked, including FUBO, which absolutely, positively refuses to break $5.
It's that high?
Yeah, it's like, it just,
oh my God.
Look, it's been holding in front of $5 for the last, I'd say, for the last half an hour, it's been at the 490 level trying to break $5. So it's been a day-long trend for FUBO. Oh, nice. What's weird is I just said FUBO, and I thought I had said FUBU and was about to correct myself, but I actually got it right. So let's go FUBO. It'd be nice if you broke this $5 level. It could do a reversion here, but I'm kind of hoping it breaks first.
Yeah, you said it was free shorts as well, but great level there. We were long at $3 in the pre-market when that broke with really heavy. I mean, the best volume was in the pre-market, really, and then right off the open, and now we're still in and around $5. We do have. Oh, there we go. We have me up now. Okay, so I'm going to start to get out a little bit here on Amazon. Might as well. We got $1 now plus in the money off of Amazon. You can see where we're short right now. As soon as we get filled, it should start to update the position board. But so we were long ahead of VWAP, right? And then when VWAP failed, there he goes. Now it should show right there it goes. So we'll talk about all these positions as it started to fail right now on Amazon. The most recent position, as we've got Joe ready to go on the board, is NVIDIA. We're just taking long right here at VWAP against 150. Probably going to start, stopping out in and around these levels of a break of 150. So let's wait to see 150, 120, 151 clean. So far so good. All right. If we're ready, I don't have an earpiece, so
Have you seen, like, Joe is, every single day, Joe is just stepping up the thread game, man. He's like, the Riz over here is ridiculous. Like, the boots, like, look at the boot game. Like, can't be just having us look at it.
It's a nice boot game, man. I'm not feeling those boots, but I mean, to each their own. I'm not, I used to have those boots. I'll wear mine tomorrow. We used to call them something. I forget. Chelsea boots. Yeah. Okay, good one. Yeah, I do have that. They're looking nice though, really clean. That's the thing. They wouldn't stay that clean in my house. That's
what I'm saying. Like, there's no chance.
That's for sure. All right, Chelsea boot man, let's go.
Let's go. Hey, wait a minute.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is Joe covering for Sharif today. He is not here. He will be back. But again, this is the afternoon rundown, the stocks that you guys choose and we get to go over, all right? So the first one on the docket today is Google. We have Wedbush maintains an outperform on Alphabet and raises price targets to 220 from 210. We've talked about Google plenty of times before with all the tailwinds ahead of Google. So we have Willow, Waymo, and Gemini really performing for Google here. Let's see what the big boys at the big desk have to say about Google.
Boy, oh boy.
Yes, sir. And every time I hear Willow, it was said in the chat and someone threw it at me.
Come on.
Hey, Val Kilmer, the old school 80s movie, Willow. That is an absolute classic
there goes
of a
NVIDIA.
film, and I think that dude is criminally underrated. But Google's doing much better than a lot of other names in this little bit of a pullback, but it just lost VWAP super strong today on Alphabet. But it ran into these highs. If you look at 198 on the daily, like that has been like the brick wall that we cannot seem to get through. I say we because I feel like most of us are probably shareholders in Alphabet. So I'm going to say we for this 198, but it's just rejection after rejection. This probably could have been a mean reversion, but I was staring MU down because it was up so much. And I always think about the prior highs or prior support levels. So you could come back in. Like 194 looks good. Like that was a good channel the last time we tested up here, and that's where we broke out from. But unfortunately, like this market took a pretty distinct right turn, and Google or Alphabet, another strong name, kind of taking it on the chin on the way back. If we don't regain VWAP, it's just 94 to wait for. I still think, look, Google's going to break it out soon. I'm just not sure what the catalyst is going to be next to get this break. I like to think we're breaking out this top before we get to the 50-period moving average. I feel pretty good about that. But like, how many times do we have to run at this 198 without actually breaking it out? You know, when it breaks out a new fresh high over 200, I feel like that's a trade everyone's taking on a day trade. But until then, you just got to wait it out. Like, you know, no VWAP, no play yet, and we'll wait for maybe a 194 in the bottom or a VWAP hold. I think it's strong today, but I need these futures to turn to find some longs in this name.
Just real quick here, so NVIDIA just went for a run when we actually brought it back over here, and then it just dropped down. These are 1 minute charts. Look how violent this is. That's 30 cents. So in our game, that's good. So when you can get up and down like that for 30 cents, I'm going to do that, and we'll take it out. We have half left on NVIDIA, just a little bit of a tricky play. SMR is not on the list. Eh? Okay, we'll talk about that later. All right, so for me, for Google, yeah, largest holding. I was actually checking. I think it's now NVIDIA, but it's pretty close with Google as well. I feel relieved that we did have this move back up because it was coming back in there on some weakness, right? You still have the DOJ. Like Neil said, it is going to be tough to think about, like, is the strength going to come from next? I have the answer for that: earnings. I think these guys have huge earnings power, huge earnings potential. I think the search being dead game is way overrated. Gemini is doing good things now. They're all going to pick up with each other, right? I mean, Perplexity, they're all going to eventually find a home. And I think Google just integrates it into their suite. And they have enough people right now, Gmail, the Pixel phones, all the Google Home products, all that stuff, Nest or whatever they have. I think actually, yeah, Nest is them, right? Ring is Amazon. Anyways, I feel like they get it figured out. So I really like Google. It is talking up my book. But like Neil said, I think we're all long this name. Google missed opportunity today, didn't even look at it. So on radar now, and might be a good dip buy here as the market does give back. So we'll wait for that 196, I guess, to come into play. But today's bottom is 195.50-ish. So I think if you're going to play long, you want to wait to get better prices than right now as the market continues to fall down.
Good stuff there, guys, as always. So now let's talk about Tesla, second on the docket. We do know how the market reacted to that delivery miss. Now, we are lagging a little bit in those UK sales. So about 1.5% growth in the UK, a little stagnant, the street not really liking it today. Let's see what Tesla can get up to. We did recover most of those losses from that miss of deliveries. So let's see what the big boys think about Tesla.
Well, interestingly enough, not to get into it, but I'm pretty sure the Tesla delivery numbers won't be the biggest Tesla stories in the UK right now, especially if you've been following along with Elon. But, you know, for as good, it is what it is. For as good as Tesla was for the longs on Friday, you guys were all here. You know, it was good, especially, you know, the afternoon was fantastic. Well, you know, it's going to be a top red stock for me. Multiple shots at the long. What was so weird about this is, like, he stroked in the pre-market a short in Tesla, and it almost like it was like a Freudian slip or something, but that doesn't really matter. We had the long trying to break out. We had a long dip buy in front of 420. It had a trend reversion trade that tried to go into VWAP, but Tesla, it just didn't have the juice today. As a matter of fact, it's in the other direction. The good news is you're still out and about.
Wow.
Maybe half of last week's move, let's just say. Half of Friday's move. So 400 is still in the, I guess, in the front view mirror. And then 394 is going to be a support level for Tesla as well. You know, obviously, this one hasn't had a very good day, but you know, it was a V-shaped recovery 2 days ago or on Friday. And if you were to do the same thing again, it would actually be putting in a higher low, at least for now on Tesla. Bad day for Rivian as well, if you're sort of following along in the EVs. That was another rocket ship that had a pullback.
Yeah, we hit that siren alarm alert there because of what's happening right now in the market. Wow, SMR continues to go high side a little bit. But all right, there goes NVIDIA. So just real quick, we had the ability on that Amazon trade to flip it around and go short. And that's what we just did there with NVIDIA. So we'll take, remember we said we had half. So this will actually be a loser because the best we got out was 75s or so, or 80s, whatever that was at the top. And then now finally we went short there, but then got out. So NVIDIA will still be my top stock on the day, but we just punched the short there. So nice little move back in through 150, trying to use VWAP maybe as a target zone to get out. So let's let this one simmer just a little bit. Next reload like 150 30s, 150 40s, but there it is. It's a short now. We're now 30 cents in the money. Hopefully going to get a little more on this name as well. And then we do have a great short position here as well in Palantir. We'll talk about that, but that's also working. So far, so good. Palantir short, NVIDIA short, SMR long, and Amazon short. We'll go talk about Bitcoin.
Good stuff there as well on Tesla there, guys. I mean, Bitcoin holding that 100K price target now. I thought that it was going to break that 92,000 level key support. It has now rejected that, continuing to trade higher, now trading above that 100K price target. Let's see what happens with Bitcoin in the coming future and see what the boys think about the grandfather of cryptocurrencies.
Ooh, yeah.
It's not old enough to be the grandfather. It's the, I don't know.
I mean, for cryptocurrencies.
I guess. Fair enough. Maybe like the godfather of it, because it's like the, yeah, I guess I understand the whole grandfather thing because it's going to be first. The founder. Well, either way, it's just been a fantastic ride. I think for most people, if you're looking at that 100,000 level, it hasn't been as big of a deal. Should maybe have gone to a 30-minute here. Yeah, let's go to a 30-minute chart so we can get a better. There you go. It hasn't been that big of a deal. Like it's been this 98 level that we're trying to chew through. The breakout, if you got it, fantastic. Next step, it's like 102.8. And if we get through 102.8, I think we can absolutely fly. But the name worth watching here. Well, we talked about Mara this morning, but MSTR, unbelievable rebound. Now, this is another V-shaped recovery. Maybe not a 2-day, not a 1-day move like Tesla did, but you're talking about within 2 days, you go all the way back what took a week and a half to bleed, and now this is looming for 300. This is 370 for the last couple of weeks here, been a resistance spot on MicroStrategy. So if we do take out that 102 change, I mean, MicroStrategy is absolutely poised. Been bleeding for a bit, for a hot minute on MSTR, and now it's done a little bit of work here. I still do like a breakout on Mara, the miner. It's been, the longer it consolidates, I feel like I suppose it's better that it just wants to go sideways here without making the big break. But could happen today, could happen tomorrow, at some point this week. 2070, I think, is poised to go. That's one of the two names that I'd be watching in the individual space. Mara, you've already gotten the break in MSTR, but some of these names that have been languishing, you just look for them to get back into those tops. So I think the Mara breakout is looming at some point in the near future.
Oh boy, I'm still trying to manage some of these positions. NVIDIA's back to about flat there. Look at this SMR right now, $24 and still going. We're long right now, 21.50s. We did have this, of course, on our board. Good trade. Missed opportunity. Could always have gotten a little bit more excited into that trade for SMR down there near the bottom. All right, so I'm just going to call up the same thing. I mean, Neil just talked about it. I think that there's been obviously a huge run here lately in Bitcoin. Could it slow down? I mean, yeah, but does that mean it is going to? We just touched 102. So that's good high, 102.6, things like that. If you're going to get stopped out, I always use the 50-period moving average. This is a 1-hour chart. So let me actually, I thought this was a 15-minute chart. We'll use a 15-minute chart because if you're swing trading this, you don't want to necessarily hold all the way back down below 100,000. So your stop right now is $100,000 and basically a break of 100, okay? Like that's $100 and 100,200? 100. Yeah. 100,200. Is that how you say that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I guess so. Anyways, at the end of the day, I think that's where it is. If you want to buy some, that's 98.6. That little dip down there, 97.5. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a celebration for Bitcoin. I mean, it's a nice hold back down in here. Some of those Christmas lows held. That was 92, 93. Came back in there for a little New Year's party, and then just took off. So for right now, I mean, if you're a crypto bull, I think you're happy with the performance there today. And if you're a seller of it, then I think you got to watch out for that 105, 106 area. So for me, yeah, crypto continues to be a winner, and let's just keep on trading. Names like Mara, we talked about Hive earlier on, Hut 8, things like that. So lots of opportunity with all of these names. Coinbase, as we talked about, that's had a nice little run up and down here. That is for sure. I think this is going to be, if you just don't believe in MSTR, you're a little shady on that. Coinbase really gets going with positive talk in the market. So in crypto. So, I mean, you had 350, just went down to 250. That gave you, 30% there, right? So you lose 25%. Lose $100 on 350 right there. Nice move to the downside and giving half back. I like Coinbase for a long. So that would be where I'd look if you are not convinced about Mr. Saylor and company, and you want to just try to get something that has, again, another play with altcoins as well, because the more like when I'm executing my trades, whether or not it be Dogecoin or Cardano or Ethereum or whatever, the fees are ridiculous on some of these exchanges. So, all right, we'll go to Joe, and then I think back to Neil. I have no idea, but we'll do that.
That sounds right.
We'll go talk about Meta.
Good stuff there from guys. One last thing on Bitcoin. Last week in the BlackRock ETF, we did have record outflows, but today putting in a really, really strong session, guys. But now on to Meta. So Wedbush maintains outperform on Meta platform, raises price target from $60 or $680 from $640. I mean, this thing has been on a monster run for the whole year, continuing to trade higher, just about 6% off those all-time highs. Meta trading fantastic with the overall market. Let's see what the big boys think about it.
Before we get into Meta, I want to shout out to Hive Digital Technologies. That's Hive, H-I-V-E, on the NASDAQ, everybody. Yes, and they are pioneering the digital transformation through sustainable AI solutions and Bitcoin mining. A global leader in cutting-edge data center operations with over 2,700 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Hive consistently tops the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash and is redefining the future by powering the world's most transformative technologies with efficient, green, and clean energy. Learn more by following them at Hive Digital Tech or at hiveddigitaltech.com and sign up for the Hive newsletter for updates. Check out the QR code you see in front of you or the link in the description. Shout out to Hive. Also on the OTC market. So Hive on the venture here. You can check them out on the OTC. I'm an agreeer with, I know we just heard Joe talk about the strength in Meta, and I feel the same way about Meta as I do about Alphabet. It's a matter of how soon do we get to that top? I kind of hope that Google gets back to that high and breaks that 200 before earnings and doesn't wait a month. And I would feel the same way about Meta. It wouldn't surprise me if there was more selling up top, but I like what we see here. Like the market, if you just look at the NASDAQ is pulled all the way back into morning lows. So if you're holding a bull flag, that means you're relatively strong. I don't need to be a charter market technician to see that. The fact that it's right back up, filling a little bit of a gap, and now 617 is holding pretty nicely on the 15-minute. That was the last support at these levels on Meta. As long as we close above 617, I think you start favoring the longs back into that. I mean, it's an all-time high, 52-week high. Doesn't really matter how you want to describe it. I think that's what could happen here for us. VWAP, I think, is the play here, although you're a little bit far away. So I'm not sure how much this is going to turn into a trade for us on Meta. Not a lot of price action so far from VWAP. And the market is, if the market's trending down, then I think if you're looking for a dip buy at VWAP, you got to wait for a stock to get into VWAP and not try to jump out in front of it. I thought I heard something on GameStop, but not really sure. So GME just broke out the top because, well, it's the afternoon, and I suppose it just doesn't need a reason to do so. I didn't hear any news going on with GameStop. It just maybe is on the way to another squeeze. Watch out for that 33. It's still been trying to break it since last week. 33.10, I believe, the breakout.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay, so I am back now. I do hear the GameStop news as well, just popping up. We'll have to see what's going on with it. Yeah, I mean, Neil just nailed Meta again. I mean, I don't know. Like I want to look at GameStop, but I opened up the account this afternoon and was like, I feel like I should be selling something. Like everything's going so well, and it's just like, wow, Meta's all the way back up. Like some of these names, you're getting a nice relief rally the last couple of days. That is for sure. There it goes, man, up $1. Wow. All right, nice call there for anybody that saw this play or knows something about this and likes this kind of a call here on GameStop. There it goes, breaking through 32.50, 32.60. We'll get some more information on this and what's happening with Meta, but let's go back over, with GameStop. Let's go talk about for us, by us.
There it is, guys. For us, by us. There it is. TV shares are trading higher after the company announced it entered into a definitive agreement with Disney to combine its Hulu with FUBO to form a virtual MVPD company. I think this ticker has been the most in play on the session, up over 224% on the day, trading absolutely phenomenal. Again, as I mentioned, one of the most in play tickers of the session, something that I was looking forward to trading. Let's see what the big boys think about FUBO.
Sorry. Wow. Am I the only? It was the timing, and if you were watching the $5 break just now, I didn't want to get it all out. If you were watching the timing of that $5 break, you have to understand that as Joe was teeing that up, it broke $5, and then as he said, and I'm not making this up, he then said the entirety of the ticker in slow motion fashion, like FUBO. So when he said FU, I crap you not. That's when $5 broke down. So it was a break 2 seconds ago. This was a breakout at $5 that got all the way up to 520, 525. And then the second he said F, there it is. There was that candle. I got out, but it reclaimed it immediately. So I jumped right back in at 502. So FUBO, which has been for us bypassing the offer all day long. Another runner here. Like obviously this is a squeeze play. What did we say the short float was? 12?
Yeah, 12 or 13.
12%. Thanks. You looked it up this morning.
Yeah, that's right.
I forgot to look it up, but it doesn't really matter. I think when you look at the daily chart, you've already chewed through a lot of resistance, but this 525 going all the way back to, you got to go back to September of 2022 to find resistance there, and past that, there's pretty much nothing to like 6.5. So it's not like it's nothing, this $5 level, but if it can get through the quarters, I would strongly suspect that it's got some more room to rally, as crazy as that might seem. So yeah, good. It's up 260% today, with the market not looking super strong, although trying to bounce. Like it could be maybe it could be a FUBO and GameStop afternoon. Not that I have any idea why GameStop is going. FUBO at least has a story. So, we'll keep an eye on GameStop, but for now, FUBO is your low float runner of the day.
Yeah, we really liked FUBO this morning. We wrote it down on, we thought pretty good when we were getting on at $4. That was kind of they're purple here because we had some offers up here that we didn't cancel. Looks like we should have just kept those offers there and let it ride, because there goes FUBO right now, breaking through $5, probably worth a long now through that $5 mark. We talked about just how excited this stock get. I remember we looked like it's on the sticky note here at $3. We already took that. So that break is right there. We posted that up earlier. That's already in the blotter, so we can't talk about that anymore. The next stop, there's 5. There's 650 and change. Starting to get going one more time here for FUBO. So I would just say watch out. Play back to $5. This 200 period's been pretty good all day, right? Hasn't tested it, and right now, as it gets excited to the upside, the 200 period gets closer and closer. So 460, 470 maybe is when we tap out. All right, just quickly here, we're done. So thank you so much for all that voting. We do have a stop out coming on NVIDIA in case it does go back up to the upside. I was going to stop out in the 70s. We do take some more shares right now. I'm going to take a little bit out. We just took it at VWAP short. So let me zoom in just a little bit here as it's it's pulling back in a little bit. Okay, we're taking some 25s now if we can get it. There it is. So short 38s again on a reload. All right, there it is, man. Bang, bang, bang. Real traders unite, because if you're scalping, whether or not your style is to do this or not, that's a good one right there at VWAP. So we'll get some more out as it continues to go. Adding to our best stock for me is going to be NVIDIA, and it's just twice short, right? So we went long there, then we just shorted again and shorting one more time here just to see. If the market wants to stay underneath, we'll be fine with this name. But look at this, up 4%. Not a great, like if this gets below 50, so that's 65 right there. I believe that's where our stop out is. If we get above this 65 area, we're stopping out. I'm not going to play this name short if the market's going to turn on us. That is death wish right there for NVIDIA. So we'll play it for now, but maybe not for very long. So
yeah, speaking of, I feel the same way. Like Micron's up 10.7%, almost 11. If it gets to VWAP, I definitely want to take this out. But I just noticed something, and Daniel, I will get to your question because I know we're talking about the chips. There's another chip name that I don't think we looked at once today that wants 150 and is just chilling at the market pulled all the way back. ARM is literally at the high of the day, and at no point did this pull back along with that market move, along with the pullback in most of the chips. Every chart on Friday looks like this, so kind of a broken record saying after gigantic Friday, it's a continuation play. Yeah, like rinse and repeat. Everything but Tesla has that basically.
Right.
But ARM 150 was a monster sell zone that took this down to a 125 zone. So I think this one looking very good. We'll get to FUBO in a second. But Daniel asked me in the chat, he's saying he said he had a long-term position in AMAT. What do I think about it? Well, on a day where everything started with ASML and data center demand looked very good, this is a great spot for AMAT. And you picked a good time to ask about it because this has been rejecting the 50 period the last two times it got there on the daily. Today, knock on wood, it looks like it's going to close above the 50 period moving average. It's still trying to break a downward trend. Like you could pop a trend line down here and say that it's trying to close breaking that trend. But finally, AMAT looks like it's breaking out a little bit here. Kind of like what AMD has a similar downtrend it's trying to break. So I think it looks much better. Instead of trying to catch a bottom, it suddenly looks like it's breaking away from said bottom. FUBO continues to try to, oh yeah, FUBO's New York. It is what it is. Going back and forth New York and NASDAQ always gets me like that. FUBO's still trying to break away from 525 on that 5 break. Once it does, I think stair step it to 550 and then go from there. The day-long trend on FUBO, it did briefly break on this test to 5 even. So I feel as if it probably needs to break down 475 to lose this trend, but so far so good for FUBO pretty much all day long. It's been going like crazy. GameStop, no, 33.5. Oh my gosh, GameStop did break 33. What is going on here? It's not even any story. I'm just gonna go pay for locates on like AMC or COS. Like one of these sympathy plays, if they're just going up because GameStop is going up and there isn't even a story here. I just feel like there's usually a sympathy short somewhere. It might be AMC if I can catch a call.
No, great call. You've been right about those many times. I remember
what about BlackBerry?
You used to trade, you used to trade.
It was BlackBerry, actually.
Yeah, you used to trade AMC or COS or a few other ones, like when you can't catch Carvana maybe, but now Carvana.
Why is BlackBerry up 11% today?
Because of Canada. Remember, we got our great prime minister, maybe.
No shorting BlackBerry.
Yeah, people just joking about that. We saw that in the earlier, on the midday show. People were like, oh, now we can finally buy some BlackBerry because it looks like we do have Prime Minister Trudeau going to be stepping down is what we've heard, I guess. And, you know, until we hear differently, I think that's what we're going with right now. Which kind of, we had thought about, like, you know, again, we don't talk politics on the show, but we had talked about how we had maybe thought of how this could affect some names. And we didn't really, other than some of the tariffs and things like that associated with, you know, some trade and things like that, maybe with a new prime minister, perhaps.
Maybe?
President-elect Trump, which will be in a couple of days, 2 weeks, not 2 weeks today, actually, the inauguration. So we'll see if that changes anything.
I think the thing that
it looks like we'll have conservative power, I guess, at some point.
Yeah, the thing when looking at some of the Canadian names and how they might get affected or how it might affect the U.S. companies is you got to keep in mind, unlike the elections in the U.S., if Canada has one, it's pretty certain who is going to win.
Right.
Like the Conservatives here are very, very likely to win based on any poll. It's not like that sort of, hey, what's going to happen? I think pretty much across the board, it's a foregone conclusion. I think that's why maybe outside of the dollar moving a bit, it's not
Look at that video.
By the way, I just paid for these locates on AMC, and we might have already had a bit of a curl here off of this top. So AMC barely even went, but GameStop starting to pull back. If it loses 33, I might take my shot. FUBO still can't seem to break through that 20 level. I don't know if I should be getting more out Like it's a wall here at 525. It's not even a lot of size. Like there's no size at 525, yet it's having just as much trouble initially as it did at $5 here on FUBO. It's done, you know what's going to do a billion shares?
What?
570 million.
Yeah.
Wow, a $5 stock. This isn't Mullen that's a penny stock doing this volume. This is actually more volume than those crazy Mullen days. That's nuts. On a $5 stock, it's going to do maybe at least 700 million.
Yeah, probably, you know, in hindsight, it's 2020 in this example, but probably once you see that volume going through, probably stick with it and see if you can get it. Because we mentioned that earlier on the day, it was like 100 or 200 million.
Insane.
And it was like, wow, this name is really picking up some steam. And yes, that is what it wound up doing. We're pretty impressed with this name right here because we're putting a little bit more money in our pockets. And the reason why I like this trade is we just talked about it with you guys and us loading up. Not loading up, but we talked about taking a couple fills up here near view up. I'm gonna take another piece out at 20. They're on NVIDIA. And again, could this be a big trade? I mean, I think it can. I'm bidding right now 150 flats to see if we can get something even lower. Ooh, VinFast right now. VinFast on the watch right now, looking to double capacity right here. We're hearing something on the wire about VFS. So not moving at all, but watch. Let's go back to this in a couple minutes, see if there's anything going to be happening on VinFast right here. Just hearing something about VFS as we speak. I'm going to possibly punch into some shares here, but not really moving, so maybe not. But we'll wait to see what happens with VinFast out of the blue. Normally, if it's a big story, right, someone else will.
Yeah, exactly.
Cover it. So we'll wait. I'm going to get some more 14s out. If we can on NVIDIA, look at that. Nice little bounce back. Take advantage of the dips, man. We're out of more than half. But yeah, VinFast trying to move around.
Yeah, and you know what? GameStop's another high of the day. So another test of the high. It's still going. It just made a run at 33.49, barely breaking the previous high. So until it breaks, I'm just going to have eyeballs on, like I said, not Coles. Koss is one that went up on sympathy, but the volume maybe not the best, 175,000. AMC tried to go and is already pulling back. So there might not be a clean reversion play there. Now it's going?
What?
Oh,
come on.
Oh, you could have just punched. Whatever.
Oh, come on.
You got to be kidding me. You could have.
I was just talking about this stock, VinFast.
But it wasn't even moving, and then like in delayed reaction, there it goes. Now it's starting to go to the upside on VFS. So there's VinFast.
What have I done?
Prior high was prior high was up here, but prior resistance at like 448, 450. Finally, through 5.25 is FUBO, FUBO TV. So this one trying to continue. Next offer is sitting here in the 30s as it's stair-stepping its way to the upside. If at any point it closes a candle, kind of breaking this trend line again, I am going to jump out of it. It's getting a little bit top heavy for sure on this name. Oh, there was one chip name that we forgot to talk about on all this weakness. Intel lost $20.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so Intel is so much for that breakout at 2112 or 2110, I think it was. It's doing the other thing, which is headed right back into those lows. So pretty much weak the entire time. I think it's got room to 19.7, but a flat bottom break just happened on Intel underneath 20. It's hard not to want this one short back to 2007.
That VinFast is hilarious. Like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just take this thing, and then all of a sudden, it does that move. But instead, we'll go bang, bang, bang. And you know what? Believe it or not, like I'll actually take more shares on NVIDIA than I would on VinFast and something like that because I don't know what's going on, and we have outs with NVIDIA. So nice trade to the downside here. NVIDIA's trying to bleed as the market goes lower. We're only staying. I'm long VinFast. I'll talk about. I will go back to that in a minute, but I want to stay short. I mean, the market is completely like. This is what the market looks like here. Maybe I'll put this over here. As they zoom in, you can see it again. But there it is, right? I mean, you're right back into the day's low again. For the market, we've bounced once. Will we bounce again? I mean, why are we testing the 50 period and failing again if we're just going to hang out? So let's see. I don't know. I'm not feeling confident. Normally, I'll be like, yeah, maybe we can get back into VWAP there. But again, more of a cover. We talked about only having half. We got a couple more out, so now we have less than that on the way back for that one. Amazon, a couple covers, and we got them pretty much all out here as well. I have no idea what percentage of the position this is left. Let's call it 5. We're light on everything. The newest position is VinFast. Wow, okay. All right, 65s it went to. I was actually offering 70s. So we'll get that story in a second here. Adair, if you do find it, let us know about VinFast, because I did hear something about them doubling their battery capacity or something like that. So we could put an offer in and around 464, 465. But let's not like get too carried away. If this breaks back down below 450 or sort of where this story started, then we can get out. Like I said, more shares on NVIDIA than we have on this. So it's not... I'm not going to focus too much on that. If it goes, it goes. We do have our target. And on that being said, I'm going to get this opportunity, get a little more out there on NVIDIA and bid some 22s. So, yeah, 15, 20 cents here or there. Palantir's a good trade in the money as well. But newest one there is NVIDIA. So we'll watch it. And then FUBO. FUBO. Did I say FUBO again? VFS right there, 620. I'm long, sorry, at 456, but right there, 462, 464 as the high. We'll wait to see what winds up happening.
Yeah, and so while the market heads back down, it looks like GameStop does not hold out that high, starting to come back in through 33. It's about to do a bit of a mean reversion. I'm on the offer of AMC. It's only a $4 stock, so actually if I can get the midpoint at 408.5, I'm going to try and grab that. But you're doing that mean reversion as we speak. FUBO, as you mentioned, almost accidentally, is coming right back into that trend. So it has held for most of the day, but if we lose 5 again, probably going to jump out of this one. Can always re-engage in the trade. That's the thing. When it's done 580 million shares, if it wants to do a dip and find a bottom somewhere else, I don't mind. But the breakout trade went 5 to essentially 530 as the top, and that is all she wrote. I do want to add to Micron if we get a chance before VWAP, but it's not really giving us that much of a move. I just got Intel short as well. If it can, probably going to trail this at 100. If it can pop and give me something in the 99.80s, and then I can trail this to 100 well before we get into VWAP. Dara, I believe, has an update.
We do have a story here on VinFast, but it is worth noting. There's a couple caveats I want to say. Super light volume, about 750,000 shares traded on the day. And I saw this story on Benzinga, but I'm not even seeing who reported it initially. All I'm seeing is the singular headline, VinFast to double EV capacity. The other thing I want to note here with VFS is that there's very little social media attention as well. Usually with this type of pop, you'll get a lot of mentions of social media. Last mention was over an hour ago. We have about a 5% short float. So again, with VFS, be very wary of the low volume on this name, guys. Back to you.
Ooh, we are weary of that. And that's why initially we didn't punch in, right? I mean, Adair brings up a great point there, and that is that when you don't see an initial spike in volume or a move. I mean, here we got the volume, but it wasn't even that much. That volume candle is, if you come over here, 95,000 shares or so. So that was me just punching in no. And then it just fell back in. So we'll give this to sort of like the most recent low, like 444, something like that. Let's see if the story can catch wind a little bit. We'll average back in, you know, a trade. We don't have too many L's on the board here today. It doesn't look like we're going to have too many more either. So hopefully we can just keep it with VinFast, be able to watch it out right there. No more outs for NVIDIA. We just covered a bunch here in and around this 20 mark. So we do now have about, on the reload, probably about 50% left. We have about a third left of the total position, so including that and that. But now it's only showing us our average price of 38. So far, so good. We'll give that, again, now the 50 periods come way back in. So why not just give this to VWAP, which is like a 52 or 53. So I'm going to cancel right now my past stop because we were using the 50 period moving average, which right now I don't want to stop out if it hits there. We'll stop out if it gets a little bit above VWAP. So 150, 61s or so will punch out of that, giving us like a 15-cent hit or so. And then we're taking more than that right now. So hopefully it'll come back in for us. That, of course, is NVIDIA. But yeah, you're talking about GameStop. We're in VFS, SMR. Again, great stock, right? I mean, we're along this one in the low teens, but at the end of the day, what a monster move a lot of these names had over the last couple of days. We even talked about the big boys, Meta, Google, Microsoft. A lot of these names just really shot up the last couple of days and giving it a little bit back here as half this day is conceded to an upside and half the day is conceded to a downside. So we'll see where this last hour goes. But for SMR at day's high, pretty good. We had lost early when it broke the 200 period, but then found a base and then boomed it to the upside. That's the hardest part about trading. Is like, you don't know if it's going to go and then continue to go or give you another entry or what. So you got to stay diligent and keep, keep making sure that the risk to reward ratio makes sense for your portfolio and that you're always around to see tomorrow because you never really know what tomorrow shall springeth. All right, VinFast, we're going to get stopped out at a break of 445. So it doesn't look like this is doing anything at all right there. So downside move there for VinFast. It's a good thing. I'm happy to try it.
I have a line for that, but before you get too far away from saying you don't know what tomorrow will bring you.
Yeah,
I know a few things that tomorrow is absolutely guaranteed to bring you.
Yeah.
Unconditional love from our kids.
Wow. Yeah.
A sun that will come up, and whether you can see it or not, who knows, because it's overcast.
Yeah, maybe,
a sun that will come up, and a market that we get to trade, one way or another. And there's a bunch of other things that happen.
Oh no, now you jinxed it. Like there could be some like software issues.
Oh,
the sun coming up is guaranteed. Like that stuff. Like
yeah, unless you're into like all those like post-apocalyptic.
There were actual times when, I mean, believe it or not, forget about our software itself. The NASDAQ sometimes even has some issues, book issues, things like that. So you got to be.
Yeah, we've seen it all. I think most of the worst of that, I feel like, has abated. But back in the day, like every now and then, you would see like there'd be outages on like half the gateway would go down and pretty much nobody could trade. We've seen the flash crash. Thankfully, nothing like that's ever happened again. We just had, I did get into that short underneath 20 on Intel, but I just heard we had a halt on this.
ZJK, is that what it was?
Oh, I heard it. Yeah, I was trying to get that symbol.
Well,
it's ZZ something else. Was it ZJ?
ZJK.
Okay,
yeah,
then I heard him wrong.
Come on, man.
I heard him wrong. I heard him wrong. I did get AMC, but ZJK. This is a no volume stock. Watch out for these. It was doing 0 volume, and now all of a sudden has 190,000 with a partnership with NVIDIA.
That's what they're announcing. They just tweeted it out.
Please open up at a reasonable price.
Yeah, so these jokers, not that they're jokers, but they're just tweeting these things out. Yeah. I mean, I would assume that's the thing. Like, just be careful. Like, I don't know anything about this stock. I only say that this has a huge runner that went to $51. Unless this chart is
no, that chart is real.
Come over to this chart. I just want to show people the potential that we could possibly have here if and when something. So, Derek, could you maybe find some statistics on, not just, I already know the story, the statistics on this name. What is a short float, things like that, because right now, 1050 here for ZJK. I can just call it up right here. There's nothing. Okay, so we'll check it out on Benzinga. This is what I used for FUBO before. ZJK, so ZJK Industrial right there. Short float is really nothing on here apparently. And yeah, we'll get it going, find out more about it. Market cap of only 500, like the market cap is 560 million. So yeah, man, we'll find it out more with Adara now.
So this stock is actually at a pretty short life. It IPO'd on September 30th. It is a Chinese ADR as well, ZJK Industrial. They have traded under 200,000 shares today, about 194,000 shares traded on the day. And I'm not even seeing their float. I'm seeing their shares outstanding, but I'm not seeing their current free share float. Market cap is not even particularly small either, around 641 million shares. Here's the thing. This catalyst with NVIDIA is actually about a month old. So this day that we had this run up on the 3rd, that is when ZJK announced his collaboration with NVIDIA with regards to liquid cooling systems. That was the largest volume we've ever had this thing trade with, about 25 million shares. Other than that, we've had about 10 million share days. But generally, this stock does not get a lot of volume. And again, this NVIDIA catalyst will certainly bullish, especially with CES, is not the catalyst it's running on today. I'm not seeing any catalyst for the stock. And it's never, ever been mentioned on social media. I looked it up. It has 0 Twitter history. So ZJK, bit of a fishy one. Again, it is an ADR, guys.
Thank you very much.
A fishy Chinese name?
See, I remember, we remember that liquid cooling, but didn't remember that specific name. Watch out for the volume being so poor on it when it opens back up. If that, like, even if you look for a reversion because it's old news, if there's no liquidity, it's just a dangerous short, even if you think it's going down. So here is. I tried to hold on to it, and I tried to get one.
You did good. You did good.
Gonna happen. Sorry, guys. GameStop is still underneath 33. I'm short AMC. 33 is the level that needs to go. So if it can hold back above the 33 and maybe break out the top again, I'm not opposed to a long in GME, but in lieu of shorting GameStop, I decided to take this top here on AMC. I've got 08.5 as a price, and if it makes another fresh high past 412, I just get out, and usually it just goes right back into the low if GameStop pulls back in there. Intel was a new short that we got, and FUBO broke trend. I got out, but I didn't go short. So a lot of times on a day-long trend, I would play the short, but because it broke it last time, and didn't follow through. I decided not to go short. If it pops back up into 5 and rejects 5 for Head and Shoulders, I might take that shot. But the breakout was pretty good, considering it broke 5 and got to 530, but the follow through non-existent past that first 25 pennies, or maybe just a little bit more than that on FUBO. Volume's still great, so I want to give it a chance to maybe make one more move in here, at least a couple more moves, because it's not even power hour yet, but temporarily we're out of FUBO. The best thing about volume like this is you could have 3, 4, 5 different setups in the next hour or so on FUBO. Is it still doing great volume? I think we're going to go to Adara in just a second. Let's go.
This ZJK, I looked more into this. So it turns out the company itself here just tweeted, and they're not even verified on social media. They have 41 followers. They just apparently just tweeted there's going to be a big announcement imminent at CES 2025. Now, I looked them up on the CES 2025 directory and website. They're not listed. So it's unclear if this is basically just their attempt to pump the stock because, again, ZJK not apparently appearing in any capacity at CES 2025. Now, it could be they're expecting NVIDIA to announce something related to them at the event, but this tweet, which does feature a GIF of NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, does appear like a little bit of a pump attempt. About 980 views on this tweet. Again, 41 followers for the company's Twitter, guys.
980 views?
You got to be careful how much hate you throw on them, like not even at CES. Because keep in mind, while they may not be there, Willie Mays Hayes was not invited to spring training
he showed up.
either. He showed up and he balled out and he made the Indians. Now, that might not actually be a real story, but it does prove that the underdogs can sometimes come through. Sometimes you just show up and maybe you can prove yourself. So you do you, ZJK.
But do not go long.
No, I'm not. I think that's
don't steal any bases over here, Neil. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's a nothing. I'm not stealing any bases with my foot.
Running
would just be absolutely.
Running would be
fine.
great. Yeah.
Oh, I actually, I almost messed myself up today.
Really?
I take the train in. I was getting on the subway.
NVIDIA maybe.
And like muscle memory kicked in.
Right.
Like I was pretty close. I heard the doors chime.
Right.
And I almost made a break.
Okay.
For the doors. And I start feeling good. If anyone doesn't know, like I'm recovering from a torn Achilles. It's going well, but I can't run yet. And I almost made a bit of a dash for the subway doors. I'm so lucky because that probably wouldn't have ended well. Let's go over to Adara. Still, GameStop can't hold above 33. If it can break back above, I'm not opposed to the long, but it's kind of running out of time. Let's go to Adara again.
Even more CES adjacent news. So to clarify, CES does not begin in earnest until tomorrow, but we do have the keynote on Monday evenings tonight with Jensen Huang. However, a lot of companies, including Marvell and Intel, have already basically teased some of the things they're going to be showcasing at the event. AMD actually just announced something here as well. They're saying ahead of CES, they've announced both their first Dell commercial PCs powered by their Ryzen AI Pro processors. They also announced some new graphics and gaming products for their ultimate gameplay experience. So here are a couple things to keep an eye on for AMD when you're looking for the CES tomorrow. Got our highest volume candle in quite some time here on the 3-minute chart, guys.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like you can get back going again there on AMD. But let's respect VWAP here. I had a trade that wasn't since VWAP on AMD, but we did have it 190, 129.5 here. This looks like it held the quarter mark pretty nicely, now above VWAP. Had it off 130, that didn't go so well. Okay, it was more of a flat trade because I took some profit. But VWAP looking pretty solid here. The thing I don't love is how that volume spike was corresponding with essentially nothing after that. It's a little bit of a disappointment here on AMD, but I do like that VWAP hold. It is making me think, now we're pulling back. We're at that 100 level on MU. So if MU breaks through this prior high, it's like just above 100, I am going to get out of the short, but I'm going to give myself an opportunity if 100 fails here to reload that short off of this consolidation area. See if we can't get into VWAP on Micron. Yeah, it's just been a rocket ship day for a lot of chips. This one has pulled back. ARM notably has not, so it's going to be on watch. All I want to see is a nice little rounded top, maybe even like a fail break of 100, but I just can't seem to get to it. I might just pop on the offer out in front. Intel still doing the same thing it was before. Tesla just can't even seem to... It's still trending down on Tesla, let's put it that way. And we're not at 400 yet. Obviously, I think 400 could be a thing this afternoon. but we're running out of time for it to make one of those quick dumps into it before power hour. So the new position is very likely to be just an add into Micron with a stop in the teens at that 100 level if we can catch it. Hello, I'm Dank just said double top, double bottom on Tesla. I beg to differ. Like to me, like when I look at it, I don't usually see this as a strong double bottom. It's not on a ton of volume. A lot of times, technically it is on a 3-minute. It certainly looks like a nice little double bottom here for you. But I feel like if you go for these, like they have a tendency, like there was a double bottom here, there was a small trade. I prefer if this were to make some kind of a trend break on
it's
Tesla.
halting again. Should we buy it?
ZJK.
It's halting. I could buy this right now, probably.
I don't know if you get filled.
I feel
too late.
Nah.
You get filled?
No, I didn't try. I could have done that probably.
I can't believe this is going.
The only reason I thought we could have got filled there was it wasn't doing that much volume, and I feel like if I would have chosen a dark pool or something here, I think we could have. Like it's not doing thousands. If I just because I could have got ahead by bidding like 500 shares or something and probably jumped one of these dark pool queues, but we talked about like danger, with this name, so I wanted to make sure that we did a little mystical there and did not get into that one. So we'll wait to see what does wind up happening with this one as ZJK opens up again. All right, so NVIDIA, a little stoppy action there on that one as it comes up and breaks through VWAP. We get back in there because the futures did the same thing. It made a run, and then Obi turned over to us today and was like, hey, man, maybe I should trade futures. And we always say that, like, if you're going to make a judgment call on what the futures are doing and you're going to try to watch out for stock, some of these levels, you could just play straight off of the NQs or the spiders or the Qs, or you often see me in TQQ or, SMH as opposed to NVIDIA or SOXL or something like that. Okay, there's like another fill. So like right now I'm just bidding here trying to catch fills when the futures, they'll just continue to go. See there, like there's a huge dump. Yeah. There goes the futures to the downside, and there goes NVIDIA. So it's working out this time as they kind of go, hand in hand here as they're dipping down just a little bit.
In concert,
yeah, in concerto there. That was with Edge and Christian. They used to use the chairs. Concerto, and they hit guys in the head.
Canada.
Oh, man. Yeah. All right, so... yeah, I guess the futures probably would have been better play. There we go. Give me those 30s on NVIDIA right now. Hey, if you're watching, hit the like button. I don't know how many of you are here right now. We had a good little almost 6,000. Let's go. Oh, yeah. See if we can get some of that money there today. Congratulations to everybody that's been long. Some of the 10 cents and all that of the world. We actually did get TCEHY.
Didn't that dump like crazy?
Yeah. So it's been a good long. And then all of a sudden now today, we had that ADR news earlier, and then 10 cent whoop all the way to the downside there. I forget what that story is. I think there was something about the DOJ looking into something there for 10 cent and not in a good way. So 10 cent, nice downside move there today. And we can probably look it up. It was right at 1030. So TCEHY. I just know this was one of the top names for real trading today. Let me zoom this back down in here and just find out what that story was. So in there, Pentagon, Federal Register has added Chinese firm Tencent, CATL, Tuo, a couple different names there, to its firms of allegedly helping Beijing's military. So not allowed to help out the military there. So 10 cent, if you're going to look to see what happens right here in the middle of the day, whoop, there it is to the downside. Nice move there for anybody short 10 cent on that news. So huge move down as the Pentagon.
That's a monster move.
Yeah, not nice there for 10 cent shareholders if you're in that name, but sometimes what goes up must come down, and 10 cent there did have a nice move into that 54 area before making that move lower. So, all right, that's about that. Nice move still for NVIDIA, and Adara is waiting in the wings.
Going to give some more context on the 10 cent story. So basically what happened here is the U.S. Department or Defense Department basically had its new list of firms that they're considering Chinese military businesses that are operating in the U.S. TME actually, so this is going to be the U.S. listed. Apparently, this was its biggest intraday drop earlier today in nearly 3 months for TME. But TME has actually addressed this, saying that they think the U.S. Defense Department actually got it wrong because they are not a military company or supplier. So they said, unlike sanctions or export controls, this is not a listing that actually has any impact on their business. So this might not be a long-term headwind for TME. It's worth noting either way, just to clarify that story. So it has been classified a Chinese military business by the U.S. Defense Department, though again, TME says they are not really too offended by this because they do not operate in that way. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what are you going to say?
Interesting story.
Oh, our bad. Yeah, we're basically just an arm of the Chinese military and the government, you know, so our bad, everybody. No, it is what it is. But you've got to trade where the volatility is. So a lot of times, of course, you're going to see us trade primarily the main U.S. markets, but there are opportunities out there in the OTC, especially with Moon coming in for the overnight market, so you can play those. All right, so ZJK just opened back up, opened at 13.
Oh, watch out!
Something.
Shoot.
I didn't see the 13.26. It looks like, and dipped right back into 1280 and back up to the high of the day. So it's continuing to rally now, 14 even. This one's going to be wild. I guess the halt level just acted as a support because there's really nothing else to look at outside of those halt levels. So 1280 looking like the support there for ZJK. I mean, it doesn't seem to me like this is a story that should keep it up forever. No one ever went broke taking profit, but yeah, it's way too illiquid. Even to look for a reversion on this, like the liquidity is terrible on ZJK. It's done 500,000, and that's after a couple of halts, unfortunately. We did get a reload. Just to go back over to it, a reload in Micron. Let me zoom in here so you can see. It just held underneath the 100 level. So I added, my average price is essentially where my trail is going to be in the teens at $100.15. So if we get back down in the 99.5, we're going to get some out. Intel is just very slowly bleeding back down. It broke back underneath 20, got 98. It's back at the low of the day at 19.9. There was another halter, MSS, another ridiculously low volume name here, halted. Just be careful with these. If this time in the day a stock that is $1 has only done 500,000 shares, I don't know that it would be on the top of my list to want to trade. It just is what it is as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it's halted to the upside at $1.70 with a 180 tap. I wouldn't be touching this with a 10-foot pole. That ZJK isn't really that liquid either, and it seems at least a little bit better. But see, there's your issue. Already coming back in, it lost the halt of 1280, the halt top, and went right down to $12. Like, these candles are going to be insane. And once it starts putting in lower highs, you absolutely never know with these. So we're still in AMC. That's basically like flat right now, half a cent to the up, half a cent in the money on AMC. And FUBO, unfortunately, FUBO is holding underneath the trend line. Man, I really should have shorted this at $5. FUBO's been such a monster. You really only want to be long this thing. But look at it since it retook that $5 to the downside. It's probably worth a shot shorting back into 5 if we get a good price here.
Now NVIDIA is finally falling. So now we can finally do something legit right now and start spinning some of that cash around now. So this is why we do what we do. And what I mean by that is just like trying to scalp in and out, try to take advantage of some of these plays, and then make sure you get right back in. So there goes NVIDIA, boom, right down there into the downside. So a pretty decent hold now for that play on NVDA. Let's see if we can get a little bit lower. We did capture some more profit. So here we go, diamond hands a little bit on Amazon. We talked about reversing into that trade, right? So we were long against VWAP, now short. Again, look at the market, right? I mean, it's crazy not to be short. So we're short. That's about as easy as I can explain it without like me losing my mind, because the market right there, huge move to the downside, and we're on top of it, man. Palantir trying to get back lower as well. It's Amazon, it's the NVIDIA reload down into the 90s that's trying to make it go. Where could we stop? I mean, the NASDAQ, it's been here before. It's been here before this morning, so we could definitely bounce in and around here. That's 21,609 right there, just looking at 21,700. I'm only looking at the NASDAQ right now, as all the names I'm trading are pretty much related to that. Good short on Micron under $100. We definitely like that one. So wick down about 20 handles lower than where we are now was the bottom of the day. So if you are in some shorts like we are,
I'm wearing pants, but
yeah, I'm wearing pants today too. It is freezing, by the way, outside. Like, I'm not trying to
I did see somebody
play
in
some
shorts
jokes
Friday.
about. There's always people on shorts, and I actually. My brother-in-law is one of these dudes, and it's like,
yeah?
are you trying to prove something? Like, I get it, you're from North Bay, you wear shorts whenever you want because you're a little bit insane. But at the end of the day, it's like, really? Is that comfortable? Like, I'm gonna shout out like people that wear shorts.
You know what? Like Poppy says, that's not me.
No,
That's not me.
you're all about the impressions today. I noticed.
You know what? There's a Brooklyn comedian who does that.
Oh yeah.
I've been trying to. He passed away like a while back. But if you ever watch like Def Comedy Jam, right? It's Rashid Thurman. Look him up. The dude is redonkulously
He goes,
funny.
"That's not me
And
all
that's
the time?"
no, that's one of his best bits. So I don't take. I don't want to take credit for it, but he does a fantastic
Yeah. Well,
job.
you gave the guys names.
I think he's one of the most underrated comedians to come out of like Def Comedy Jam back in the day. All these shorts are working, but we forgot four super chats, and apologies to everybody.
Sorry about that.
We've got Stevenson Etienne. Thank you. It is Etienne because we know our French up in here, and because of Travis Etienne.
Yeah. What's up with Travis?
Thanks, Obi. Took SPY puts, turned 90 into an 810 into 810. 9x. Congratulations to you, Stevenson. Thank you, Ian Rispetto. You've taken a long position in PanW a month ago. As of late, it's been getting hit a lot and downgraded today. What do you guys think of prospects for PanW? I love PanW. The thing about it, and you've got it. Whoops, that's the wrong chart. I wanted to, whatever, that's fine.
Panning for gold.
I was going to go to a weekly chart. Look, the weekly chart, the 50 period's at 167. And then if you go right here, the 200 period on the daily is 167. I think that's where it's headed. Caveat, I told a bunch of people, I told everyone here, I sold my CrowdStrike position because I only wanted to be in one, and you better believe where my bid is on PanW. I am stink bidding the 167 in front of the 200 period on the daily and the 50 period on the weekly.
Wow.
And then Hillam Dank, thanks Neil. Thank you, I don't know why you're thanking me. You just didn't say anything specifically, but we appreciate you. And Nimrod, any idea what's up with Proctor today? Looks nice for a swing long. I have absolutely no idea what might be up with Procter & Gamble today. I promise you that is a chart I have not looked at in quite some time. So just one thing, I'm bidding out of Micron at VWAP as we said we would. Intel just made another fresh low, just got to 1980. So from 20 to 1980, Intel continues to bleed. But I don't really know what's going on with Procter. I mean, it's down 2.5 points is a lot for Procter. It's not always moving that much. We'll check to see. That's not good on PG. And if it loses a buck, look at a 160 on Procter. It ain't good if we lose that level. Could just be continuation for the last couple of days here. Not sure there's a specific story there for Procter. Yeah, that's not a good look. If it loses 160, I think this one's in trouble.
Yeah, some of the names there playing off some dividends. I mean, it's been such a growth story the last couple of days, but we'll have to.
Yeah, it could just
Procter
be
Gamble's not really that. Plus the GLP-1s as well. But that's kind of a. I don't know, is that like a little bit of an old story now? I don't know. I keep talking about that. Okay, everyone knows about it anyways, is what I'm getting at. There it is. It's $1. Nice trade on NVIDIA. I mean, we played it. It worked. And there it is. We got some pieces out there for that $1. And again, like, there's the bottom take, fell right back in. We talked about some of the levels that we've already seen here today. If you're going to fall into those levels, it's why we sort of zoom it back out. We do wind up taking some outs there. We have a lot of fills. Don't get me wrong, but it's going to be my number one stock, and it'll be, overall a pretty good trade. So there's a good short. We did get stopped out at VWAP. We were able to buy some, sell some back in to make that to the downside. But again, the futures, I'm trying to be as simple as possible. Like, again, watch out for this 50-period moving average. When you break it, it's fine to break it. You just look for that next level. And on that specific instance there, we held. So nice hold there, and then right back in, and then there's the bottom again. The bottom wick goes right back to where we were earlier on in the day. So yeah, starting to clean up some of these shorts, right? It's why we emptied out the clip there on NVIDIA a little bit, and why we'll maybe now start to slow down. We are in the hour of power. Maybe we can start to look for something else. Bitcoin still high. IBIT, how near the top is that? Right now at 102 and change. Been a little lazy, honestly. Like, haven't really noticed what IBIT's been doing today. Yeah, maybe that's why. Not hitting any scanners and a little off VWAP still. So 57.50, 57.60 there maybe for VWAP or something coming in. But for me right now, I'm going to stay away from IBIT and just keep on trading what we've been doing, right? SMR, Palantir, maybe address this Palantir position. We haven't really talked about it. So we were able to go long early, then we got caught up a little bit. Once it broke that low of the day, we went short. It did bleed all the way down into the fact that we were short 77. These outs are 75. That's $2+, but look what it holds. 75 again, now all the way upside. I'm going to put a stop. We have less than 1% left, but I will put a stop up here around 76.50 for Palantir. So I'm going to refresh my blotter, put a stop up there in case it does happen. But if not, let's try to hold it. We are at the 200 period right now for Palantir on the 1 minute. So you zoom up. This is probably worth a hold now. Maybe a short even on Palantir. Let's think about it right there, PLTR. I kind of like the stock at these levels, but down 5%. I mean, if the market's going to bleed off of the 50 period, this could be another trade right here. All right, let's maybe look to reload Palantir in around 77 if it gets going. 77 shortish for PLTR if it gets up there. Other than that, I'm just going to wait to see whatever happens next. ZJK halted at $15.
That stock is ridiculous. So I'm going to take the shot underneath the $5 on. Well, we have a short, so I know that the scrolling thing is going to be annoying there. But FUBO underneath the $5 level just picked it up. If it retakes 5, I probably should have done this the first time, and then we would have already gotten some profit out. But we're going to short it back into 5. It is a bit of a mean reversion play, and worth respecting the fact that FUBO has been a rocket ship. So if it gets above 5, I'm out. And we may maybe even look for some longs. I did just take another leg out of Intel. The market bounced pretty nicely, and this just got to that 19.8. Keep in mind, 19.7 is a local bottom here from last week on Intel. It's not like it has that much room to go until it gets in here to the last line of support on that 20 short on Intel. And every 20 cents is going to be 1% as well. AMC, which probably shouldn't necessarily surprise anybody, is pulling right back into VWAP. I tried to get more at 10s and didn't actually get filled. So when it was sitting here at 10 by 11, I crossed down with a midpoint. It sat there at 11. It looks like it traded through. It did not. Like, I was sitting there at a midpoint. I just didn't get filled. When you price a midpoint, the order goes out at the bid at 410, so it looks like it went through. But I was just sitting there trying to get the mids and never got the fill to add to AMC. So we don't end up getting everything we wanted on that short, but it's starting to come back in. FUBO, the only new short position. And Tesla, I just saw Tony, or a couple of people were saying Tesla in the chat.
Okay.
Catches a bid, so maybe we're not going to see 400 today. I mean, that's a good thing. You don't want to see those bottoms, but that double bottom turned into a triple bottom. And the third time it looks like was a charm at 402 for Tesla. So I guess we don't get our shot at 400 this afternoon, at least not yet. There's still 50 minutes to go here. I really thought, did we come all this way not to test 400? Apparently the answer was we did come all this way.
Not to test it?
ZJK is unbelievable. Double top at 15 on ZJK. It's so crazy that this one is sustaining this move, but you know that's the market for you sometimes. It doesn't have to be necessarily efficient. It did just open back up underneath the halt price. It's the first time that it's halted and opened up underneath, opened lower. Like each time it's actually opened higher, whether it tests lower or not. It's the first time it's actually opened underneath. Just for what's and giggles, I'm going to confirm that no, we don't have any locates. So probably would have to pay for them to go short, and it's way too late in the day anyways. So
308, yeah. I mean, I could get involved with some of that, but Nvidia is the one that's taking off right now, back up to the upside. Nvidia also making a little bit of a run here to make us feel a little foolish about not getting more out near that bottom of one. Like it was just, can you believe it was just there? Like you want to talk about like 149.30s. What? All right, well, hopefully it comes a little bit lower right now for us. NVDA pulling back in. We did get something out once it broke through 150 because, again, we're short 50s. So make sure that we do take some kind of profit out here for NVDA, especially if it does want to hold. We did talk about looking at Coinbase a little bit. That SMR just got a little spicy for us. Well, okay, it did dip down there. I thought it actually went down a little further. It did not. So SMR is still holding out. Hope here for a decent trade to come back in for us on SMR. Yeah, good name there. Shopify maybe moving around. Broadcom. Let's have a quick look at Broadcom. Broadcom, a name that, again, some people talk about wanting to get a little more diversified in their portfolios. Maybe Broadcom is the name for you. Nice move upside right there, holding positive today. Obviously, it's had its high, but it's trying to hold out this level, 233 and change. And again, looking at the daily chart, well off. Hopefully this will load up. That's right. I was going to say, why don't we have the 200 period there, because we had the flip over. But here's Broadcom right here on the e-signal charting platform. And you could see, still, I like this. That's a huge break higher. You don't want to see it get back into here, but all gaps, they say get filled. Not true, though. But this name could come back into that 190 area. I think we're a buyer lower, 220, 215, 217. We did talk about some good buys lately. I know you and Sharif were talking about ASML, and then someone super chatted about AMAT as well. There's some other names that have really gotten hit.
I like ASML more than AMAT, but...
Yeah, so there's a nice little move down there for ASML, bouncing off the 50-period moving average, like 700 up to 770. That's 10% in just like 3 or 4 days.
Here's a question for you.
So a good move on ASML.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
And I might be spoiling this because maybe this is something we'll talk about on Thursday.
Okay.
So by the way, I know Thursday is going to be a market holiday, everybody, respecting and certainly commemorating the life of former President Jimmy Carter. But we're going to be here because we're always determined to give you guys content. So we're going to talk about plays for... I think so.
Yeah, I'm very determined. Yeah.
So look, we're going to talk about plays for 2025. And certainly maybe there'll be names we haven't talked about before. I don't want to spoil too much. I feel like we kind of have on a couple of fronts. But Palantir, it's interesting because one of the things I'm sure we'll talk about is not just like new names that maybe we don't discuss, but like what are we doing with some older names? Because Palantir, for the first time in a while, is threatening to close underneath what I think is the trend line here, but it hasn't had multiple closes underneath this trend and on the daily, and we could see that if it closes underneath tomorrow. Or, I mean, it obviously hasn't closed yet today underneath, but it looks like it's going to. So if it does it 2 days in a row, I'm thinking minimum 50-period moving average. And the question I would have is, how much of the boat is this worth? Because it is what it is. Like, I think I put like a small amount of this for you-know-whats and giggles. Yeah. Back in the day when you were talking about it at the end. Yeah. And I don't even remember how much it was small. But the 200-period moving average would cut this thing in half. Ooh. I feel like that's the kind of, if the worst were to happen, I like the 200-period on anything that's a growth story for the year. Because I'm completely convinced that this is a year that while we will not see 20% again, but back-to-back 20% years in the NASDAQ, we're not going to get that. We are going to get more volatility, I think. And so when the market's not doing as much, individual stocks are going to do more. And because I think that's the case, if we do get pullbacks in the market, you might see some ridiculous prices and names you didn't think could get down there. And that's the theme of like my dip buying for this year. Just don't write off stocks because you think that price is impossible for it to get to. Just one more note here. Micron still bids at 99. I'm bidding underneath 99 because it's VWAP, but the support seems to be above 99 even. So it might just have to go down to 99.20, maybe the 99.20s. And I see Sunil in the chat saying MSTR headed for a gamma squeeze. I'm not like, Joe obviously would be looking at the chain right now, so I'm not entirely sure. What I can tell you is MSTR is squeezing. So there is zero question that the stock is in the midst of a little bit of you can call it short covering or you can just call it a little bit of a squeeze, but I think we can see the program buying, we can notice what that looks like and is now 2 days in a row where this is trying to fill in that gap. Just try to remember there was a lot of sellers in this 400 range. Every time it got up here, this is where the sellers would really start to win. So yeah, good look for MSTR. Bitcoin's not doing much, but it's back over 102. And remember, MSTR, Bitcoin goes down a little bit, it goes down a lot. Bitcoin goes up a little bit, it goes up a lot. So I feel like this is the best thing for a trading vehicle or maybe some of those other miners. Although disappointment for me with Mara because I thought that was going to be the breakout today. And it's still completely defying this break. I suppose consolidation is good because it spent the entire day consolidating for a breakout that has not come on Mara. And I'll take it tomorrow if it does. I don't care. Like I'll take it any day this week. It wants to break out this local top here on Mara as long as Bitcoin's above 100,000. That's my only condition.
Yeah, I said I liked a little bit of Coinbase action there if the market were to give back a little bit there and you were able to buy something because I think Coinbase gives
this is done.
Some exposure. What happened?
This is done.
Okay.
Marty, Done.
What happened? Marty?
100%. If I'm assuming, look, Marty in
McFly?
the chat, I appreciate you and appreciate the super chat. We'll figure it out. I don't own a Broncos hat. We'll figure this out. Neil, give me 9 points with the Broncos. If Bills cover, you'll do 100 super chat. If they don't, I have to wear a Broncos hat all day next Monday.
Okay.
Now, I don't own a Broncos hat, but I don't care. I'll go out and we'll figure it out. I'll pick one up, and I don't have any friends that are Broncos fans that I can give to. That I can give it to. I'm sure I can find somebody. Our friend, our friend in our pool, he likes Bo Nix, so maybe I'll give it to him or something.
Bo Nix.
When the Bills win, and I have this Broncos hat, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing with it. So
we could probably. I think these guys could probably do something where we could like superimpose something that looks like you're wearing.
I want it to be on there all day, man. Like, just if I'm doing a humiliation bet,
no, but
I'll wear it all day. Like, I don't mind that. But yeah, you know what? Let's just have fun with it. Obviously, I know you're doing it because you're a Broncos fan, not because you actually think the Broncos are going to win. There, Marty. So shout out to you. We do fun like stuff like that all the time. Like when England faced Italy.
When England lost to Italy, you mean?
Okay, well, you know.
Well, they did face them. I shouldn't have interrupted. Yeah.
I had to paint my face in like the Italian flag.
Yeah, and then we didn't qualify for it.
Yeah, it is what
Italy.
it is. That was
fun. Yeah, that was fun times. Now, Sharif, yeah, I mean, we could get, anybody has midday show. That'd be fun, too. Get some of those guys excited.
Is that JK?
About all of that. That's a good one there. The Broncos, yeah, wow. I think it should be a good matchup. I don't know.
No, I think it's...
No, I mean,
Rookie quarterback?
I'm trying to be nice.
I will remind everybody with Ricky, if you're an NFL fan...
Yeah, there's some stats there.
Robert Griffith Jr., or the third, he's not
third, yeah.
RG3.
Probably a junior.
RG3 had a historic rookie season for Washington back in the day. He stepped on the field in the playoffs, and I think it was Seattle or whoever it was, and I think he threw for like 84 yards. So Bo Nix, a great quarterback, but everything changes when you get into the playoffs, and all of a sudden you have like an experienced offensive coordinator's game planning for you. It's essentially like trading for your first day you step into trading, and you go on the stock that has like maybe like the highest rate of dark pools out there. Like let's try to trade the most manipulated stock as an absolute rookie.
You're trying to read the tape.
Yeah, you're trying to read tape as an absolute rookie. That's what's going to happen to Bo Nix. The Bills are going to win by probably a couple of touchdowns. Josh Allen's going to go absolutely ham. I would say I'm expecting low-key for there to be a big game for our rookie, Keon Coleman. I think he's going to do some... Because I'm not sure they're going to put...
he's going to be on Cooper, no?
I think Surtain's going to be on Cooper.
Right.
And then that's going to open things up for Keon Coleman. So I haven't checked out any prop bets, but I think he could be an interesting...
Depends the weather, too. It's cold these days around here, but
we like
Buffalo...
That cold,
yeah. But Denver, I guess, too. So that's, not like a huge advantage there. But,
I ain't scared.
All right, so... so still NVIDIA, Palantir, SMR. Those are the ones that we have. And then we have Amazon. We did cover some more Amazon already since it's been breaking. I mean, put your guys, who do you guys think is going to win the Super Bowl? Maybe we can get a poll up there or something. Or I don't know, just put your... The Green Bay Packers play Philly. That's going to be tough for sure.
That's a tough game.
Still waiting to hear how badly. I don't think Jordan Love is going to be hurt too much, but we'll see. Right there, he fell on his elbow. That's never a good sign, but they held him out for precautionary reasons. And Tennessee Titan great, of course, Malik Willis came in.
At least you have a solid
one more. Is he solid? Came in there, and I think LaFleur is the more solid one. All right, so 37 to the downside. I always look at DraftKings because this is a name that I know I want to buy on weakness, and it's pretty weak right there. DraftKings, get ready, man. Well, maybe we'll look tonight. We'll put some orders out. I just think that first mover advantage. This chair's a little uncomfortable. First mover advantage. I switched some chairs last week there, and then Obi. We always keep on messing with the settings.
Yeah, Obi moved back. I think he brought the other chair back.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Yeah, so I'll figure it out. But first mover advantage. I don't want to associate DraftKings with a Tesla or a Palantir or anything like that, because I don't know if it has that kind of juice in it. But if you're going to look on the year, where were we at the beginning of the year here? Beginning of January 2024, we were $32. We went all the way up to $50. Now you're pulling back into some of those areas again. I really like the stock down into this range, $34, $35. So I think for DraftKings, for me, something else will be looking to dip by very, very soon. Like looking for...
Weren't they doing a subscription?
I don't know. Almost looking for a negative story on DraftKings, right? So that I can get involved with it on...
I think there was news on that.
Like let it sort of whoosh out one more move down there. Because California is still not legal. There's another... It's California, Texas. I don't think it's legal yet either. And I feel like, with the Trump administration and things like that, we're going to get some of that turned around and more approvals faster, so on and so forth coming. Not that, I know it's going to be stateside, but at the end of the day, I think that DraftKings has a good opportunity there for sure. So I like that one. And, whether or not you use FanDuel, DraftKings, I don't know, there's BetMGM. There is a lot of competition. I just like the first mover advantage, and I'm always seeing DraftKings.
Yeah, see,
everywhere.
There is a good story for DraftKings today.
Oh, okay, good. What is it? What's down?
Okay, Paul, I just clicked the very first link that had this, and it looks like a pretty... But I saw this multiple places. Unveil subscription service to boost multi-leg odds. Like the idea being they're going to do like a subscription, and then you'll get boosted odds with your... Like if you do a...
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Look, I don't know the details of this, but the idea being pretty simple. Like you pay X amount per month, and you're going to get some juiced odds on some of those lines. So I think that's...
It's a good way to lose twice.
Yeah, but it's good for DraftKings. And
it's great for DraftKings. Good to lose twice.
More money. Yeah.
For me to lose twice, I'm saying.
But why would it be down? That's good news, I think.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to why it would be down for sure. Oh, I see. And I knew this was going to happen when I mentioned football.
ZJK still.
Yeah, Kyle Burdett.
What now?
As a lifelong Skins fan, let me point out the Jim Kelly era.
Yeah.
Man, we loved crushing him in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, everybody did.
You know what? We went to 4 Super Bowls in a row. I will say this. If it ends up being Buffalo versus Detroit, that will probably, if the Bills were to go to the Super Bowl and lose, that would hurt the least because Detroit's never even been to a Super Bowl, which is insane when you think about it.
Yeah, Detroit's been pretty much one of the worst franchises in NFL history. Nice to see. They got to get like some Dan Campbell statues or something. They've turned that franchise around, boy. But getting Jared Goff was really good, man, and they had some great drafts. Like Gibbs and Amon-Ra. Some of these guys.
The Stafford trade got them like half. It's Laporta, Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, like all of it from that one trade.
They have Hutchinson there as defense.
Best win-win trade ever.
The NFC.
One team went to the Super Bowl, and the other team got every single piece they needed to now potentially go to the Super Bowl.
And the other teams in the playoffs.
I'm cheering for I do like your Packers. I just hope that no matter what, it comes out of your division because it'll be criminal.
I don't like Minnesota. So.
It'll be criminal if a team out of the NFC North doesn't end up in the Super Bowl because they're by far the best division. It's an absolute joke that Minnesota has to play a road game, but the rules are the rules. A couple of things in here.
Minnesota got killed yesterday.
Rivian Millionaire, I think I addressed this last week. Apologies if I didn't. Have I bought Costco yet? Ooh. I'm pretty sure I did say that I was no longer looking to buy into Costco and was just going to say, whatever, I'm just going to be buying more Walmart. I'm talking about in my personal account, and I did buy more Walmart in my personal account. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I pulled back into the 50 period. So nothing against Costco, but I've found that when I do this, I like this stock, I like that stock, I end up with just too many symbols. And okay, well, if I like Walmart, let's just own Walmart for myself. So that's what I ended up doing. So I did buy the dip in here in Walmart, and I would be a buyer again at 85. It's just essentially taking the money that I would have put into Costco and will be dollar cost averaging into Walmart this year to get a bigger position in Walmart. So AMC basically comes into VWAP. At least it's making the attempt to hold down into VWAP. GameStop not really doing much. So if GameStop busts through 33, which I guess you could have shorted this at 33. Doesn't want to go either. If we bust through 33, probably an easy punch out in AMC. And if we get to VWAP and GameStop, I think AMC goes all the way down to $4 where it was in the morning. So yeah, still in the same names. Intel, haven't gotten any chance to reload off at 20, but it just put in a pretty big volume candle off 1977. This could be a pushback into 20 even for Intel where we are short. My stop is at $20.01. Probably no reason to change it yet. But the Intel is a stock that sometimes has an imbalance, and if it does, I'll probably either just get the low of the day if it's a sell imbalance or get stopped back out or trailed back out through 20 if it does want to pull back. Micron, we're still holding that. We try to get the 99 quarters, coming right back into our entry price. Probably reload it one more time underneath 100 before we respect the fact that this is a strong stock and the market's trying to bounce here. I'll give it one more shot to roll over at the $100 level, and then we'll just get out of Micron. It is up 11% after all.
Yeah, good call there on Micron. We noticed how strong it was earlier on in the day, and then of course, right now with the market going for a little bit of a run, we do have one quick reload. I mean, we just took it right here. We just took Nvidia right now at 40s for a reloaded position just to see where we can go. Hopefully, we can go down, but we're going to use 150.55 because that's right where VWAP is in order to get out. So it looks like right now we are starting to go back up. One last try. I mean, I thought it was worth a try. So, you know, we'll take it. It looks like it might not have been worth a try at the end of the day because NVIDIA looks like it's going to run that top. I was just thinking right into here for the futures to try to absorb this short. But yeah, we talked about not being short NVIDIA, especially if this market does go for a little bit of a run. So not the most creative position here, reloading into this name, but we're almost going to get stopped out of NVIDIA very, very soon. All right, so Palantir, again, an idea that we had sort of talked about. We don't have it on board now or anything on Palantir, but looking to get short. We looked at 77. That's definitely not coming into play. So I am thinking about this level, 76.50. Again, not necessarily in play yet, but a level to look at for for Palantir to come out there. Let's have a quick look at Tesla. We could look at VinFast again, 407. Okay. So Tesla, with what was a good stock earlier on, really failed for the rest of the afternoon. I mean, you're starting to get a little going now. We might have missed that bottom there in the futures. We talked about it with the NASDAQ, how we were getting really close to that day's low. I mean, came within handles of it. Maybe we can even zoom into a minute chart here on the NASDAQ and have a quick look because, yeah, that came. So let's just say that's 21,647. The low of the day is like 42.43. So you came within like 5 handles and then bouncing straight off of that right there to the upside. NVIDIA has not stopped us out. I mean, it came close to doing that. So we're going to wait now for this one. If there's any other names you guys want us to talk about, we will do that. As right now, there's NVIDIA short right here, right now at 40s. Hopefully that can come in. FUBO again, failing a little bit at 5. It had that huge run. Neil talked about $1 billion. 700, yeah, maybe for sure today. 617 right now with an imbalance coming. It's a New York stock, so maybe we might
actually have one.
An imbalance on it now. We do not. So I do not see FUBO on here yet. So all these New York names coming through. So there's the time, no FUBO yet.
No FUBO for you.
With Disney on my mind.
Oh, we got another super chat here. And this one's market related. Well, I mean, most of them are.
Yeah.
Is that Benza? Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you. What do you guys say about the forecast for CPI on Trading Economics? That's a site. I see it as extremely bullish if that really comes true, but extremely, am I right? Okay, so the thing about, so let me just see if I can find it here. Trading Economics. Blah, blah,
I don't know the website. Yeah, he's got it. Oh, you got it?
I actually had pulled it up when I saw this, but there you go. So their next forecast for CPI is going to be much lower, right, than previous. So in theory, of course, if consumer price, if they go down much, the December number is down, that's typically going to be bullish. There's no question about it. Unfortunately, we're not exactly in a market where it's that simple where we can just sort of get out our old economics textbooks and say, okay, well, that should be a good sign. Prices are coming down. That's good for the health of the economy. Inflation's going to come in. We know that's not a good thing. You've got to also think about what the Fed does next as well. So if we want to get them cutting again, you know, they might consider being able to pull off a longer pause if you see that abate coming in there on inflation. So it kind of cuts both ways. I don't think it's going to be that simple. I'm with you. I think it's bullish. I don't know that I consider it extremely bullish because people are looking at, well, now we don't know what we're getting from the Fed this year. 0, 1, 2, 3. We don't know how many we're going to get. I think that's going to be all over the place this year, why we're going to have more volatility. It's almost 3:30, and the only, like Sean just said, there's nothing on the imbalance locator just yet. I did note some strength here in AMD, however, as that one is making a nice little bounce back in through VWAP. I gave myself one more crack at Micron. So we have one more crack here at Micron through this 100 level. It breaks 100, I'm going to get out. We're still bidding in the 20s. We'll pop another 50 bid in here just to see if this one wants to continue to pull back in. All right, so Intel's still looking pretty much the same. AMC's at VWAP. And that ZJ
It's not doing much.
Yeah, it lost VWAP. This probably was worth a shot shorting off that. Well, the second it actually opened up underneath the halt price, like opened down after a halt, it never looked back. That could have just been the signal right there. And you could have gotten it at 1480 plus whatever you paid for the locates.
Yeah, its high was 1503 there.
Yeah.
Low 911. All right, we could have got out as, that's what I was going to say. Let's just do this for an updated position. I was going to say we are about to get stopped out of NVIDIA, which kind of sucks. But right there, 2150 SMR out, $24 at the high of the day. We were sitting there at 97. We got run over there, obviously, as it goes higher, and that's ending that trade. So, yeah, man, we will take that. We talked about waiting for the high of the day again on SMR. So we wanted it early, got it late. A nice runner. I just thought today it's on the sticky note as idea number 2 long at 2250. We didn't have too much patience on that play. Where's my NVIDIA? Oh, 65. Oh, sorry, my NVIDIA did not come out. It's very close. It's 65s. So it looks like I'll lose 10 more cents than I thought initially on NVIDIA. We're short at 39s right now, so we're giving it to 65. I guess that must have been sort of that high right into there where we just sort of wicked last time. So yeah, it's right there right now. It looks like NVIDIA will come out. The market's trying to go back upside. There it goes. Bye-bye. Again, remember, this is not one to fight. So when it breaks, it breaks. I was happy getting out at 55. Made a mistake there by not changing the stop. But there it goes. Nice up, or by not changing it to be a little bit more aggressive. There it goes. We be a little bit better with it. Nice upside move, 170 now. 150.70 now on NVIDIA going upside there as well. So SMR is an out. We did talk a little bit about Palantir. That's not doing much right now. And then Amazon, right back to Flatsville now. We have less than 5% left on this one. Right back into VWAP again for Amazon. So yeah, we're just kind of letting these things go for a little bit of a run here when we should be thinking about either flattening out or do we even want to take the short. The market's trying to make a move to VWAP. I mean, I'm fine shorting it. There's a lot of consolidation here. So I think we're getting close to trying one more short, just a matter of what name. And it might just be Amazon because Amazon, again, a profitable name, has come all the way back to a level that we've been short before into VWAP. So this could be a trade right here for AMZN.
Are we going to?
I don't know. Are we going to Adara? All right, Adara.
Keep an eye on this NARI. This is Inari Medical. This is actually not a small cap. It is up about 22% here. We've got a 50.37 million share float, market cap of about $3.5 billion. So not a super small float, not a ton of volume either, about 3.3 million shares traded on the day, but getting a massive volume spike on reports from Reuters that Stryker Corp is near I guess an acquisition deal for NARI. So NARI, possible acquisition target here with a 6.86% short float, guys. Back to you.
Oh, we're going to see a heck of a lot more of that this year in terms of deal action. So Inari, it's Inari? Yeah, Inari Medical heading higher. Good look. I think tomorrow, probably if the deal gets announced tomorrow, it's probably not going to be the typical, it'll be an opportunity, but not the typical opportunity that we talk about. But we'll have to see whether an actual deal gets announced. I never want to chase those. Sometimes they halt in the afternoon if there's speculation on a deal and it moves up. Every now and then the stock might get halted and then a deal announced tomorrow. So just be a little bit careful with that. I've been on the other side of it when same thing, speculation, deal didn't get announced. And so therefore when it opened the next day, it opened significantly down. Micron got the reload. It just tagged 99.55. This time, if it gets down to 99.25, we're all out. With us getting near the end of the day, we break out this local high. We're going to jump out of the trade. Let us know what else you guys are watching. I mean, GameStop, I thought had a chance to go, and now all of a sudden, pretty much nothing. It looks like a disappointing, kind of a disappointment. I thought there'd be some small cappers that were going to go. FUBO ran out of steam. GameStop seemed like it was going to be on one, and now it's pulling back. I hate to say it, but like that ZJK was actually the best runner for a very brief period of time this afternoon. Wadad asking about Apple. Ooh. Apple didn't have, I know it's not down or anything, but Apple's not having a very good day. The market's up 1.1%, and the issue I have with Apple is one of my favorite things in the market is when support turns into resistance, although when it happens to a stock that you like, it's not necessarily the best. So we've rejected prior support at 246, and we're just holding underneath it. short-term bearish on Apple as long as it doesn't hold a bit above 246. But the good news is you got the 50 period. I think we get that this week, and I want to be a dip buyer that day at the 238 level on Apple. Oh, there was one other thing. Again, Boeing held on to 170. So this is becoming a bit of a thing here on Boeing. I don't know how many times it's going to be able to do this, but each time we bounced off the 170 level, it's bounced a little bit more shallow. So eventually, if that keeps happening, you get a potential breakdown. I think it's a flat bottom break. I like Boeing. I own Boeing shares. But the day it takes out 169.5, I probably just go short. Until then, long 170 every chance you get for a scalp trade.
Oh, man. It looks like we touched the 200 period. Look at that right there on NVIDIA. Oh boy, that's too bad because we got stopped out there at 65s and now you're down to 40s again. So nice push down. Watch out for the 50 period moving average. If you did stay short on that one, be careful with it. We did reload this, so at least there's some kind of this happening now. But again, if we don't cover, we don't get anything. So let's bid out a little bit there at 01s, get filled, and now we'll wait to see if we do get a little bit of a lower take on this one. At least we're able to make something back on this short on Amazon, shorted about 15s there. Average price 227, 10 or 11s right now, as we'll cover a little bit at O's and then, you know, obviously wait for a little bit more to come through now on this play. That is going to be Amazon to the downside. If we break above 50s, we're going to be out. Are the futures going to go on this run or not? Remember, we do have, isn't it jobs at the end of this week? So that could be something else. You talked about PMI. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff, or PCI, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming through that are going to affect not necessarily the rate decision, but the trajectory of the market. Because if there's going to be like a mass deportation and there's going to be like all these things happening when Trump comes in, that's going to affect the jobs numbers. So we're going to have to wait to see if there is some talk of that from the Fed and, you know, where the market goes on anything similar to that. All right, Amazon just takes out the high there. We got out there at 20s. Our stop was going to be right there. We did have a stop at 50s, but because we reloaded it right there at 15s or whatever, I just gave it a very, very quick stop. Don't really want to be in this for too much longer.
This market's starting to look pretty smart.
Yeah, it's 3:36. There's tons of, I don't want to say there's tons of time left, but there's only 10 minutes left until those imbalances come out. And that's been a tricky trade, waiting for those imbalances. Because, again, your stock could come as a huge bid, stock takes off, you're short. And you're kind of stuck there saying, what have I done?
Yeah, speaking of which, I just tightened my stop to, I had it at 100 on Micron, but I can see I know higher lows when I see them. And that is, there's the bottom from when we shorted it the second time. There's a higher low. There's a higher low. No reload, tighten stop. We're trending back to the upside here. And I feel the same way about Intel. Probably going to tighten this up just underneath the 20 level. It's still trying to roll over, and there's still plenty of time. But that's a big volume candle. I didn't have a good look at the level 2 when it happened, but that's a huge volume candle at the absolute bottom, which usually signals a reversal. And when I see one of those, I don't necessarily love the reload on Intel. So a couple of chip shorts that still look okay, that looked okay and did work, starting to come right back up. As the NASDAQ back to 1%, Tesla's almost green again. So you are seeing some strength come back into the market. Where are we? I just saw, I just saw another super chat. Oh, okay. I was looking up to see, and it's just a super chat from Michelle.
Oh, nice.
So thank you very much, Michelle. Appreciate the super chat. Shout out to you. We appreciate all our viewers. And all we ever ask you is, hey, enjoy the show. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, contribute to the community in the best way that you can. You know, whether it's having fun or learning or just encouraging everybody out here, dropping some knowledge that you might have, which is always a lot of fun. So we appreciate you guys there. Tesla is at 410 and making a nice run. GME's back to 33. Get out of here.
Nice run on GME. Look
Seriously?
at Amazon. Are you kidding me? This is the problem when you have like lighter volume. We get stopped out on Amazon. We get stopped out on NVIDIA. I mean, NVIDIA is still a big stock. I'm not, Amazon's, we didn't take very, I mean, it's fine. We're not going to cry over spilled milk here, but look at this come right back down. We were just short at 227.20s, right? We should have given it to 227.50. I don't know what we were thinking there either, but Guys, thanks for the super chats. Let's keep it going. What else you guys want to look at right there? FUBO tomorrow, second day runner. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. What's up to Mark there talking about it in the chat? Yeah, the only thing about this one, Mark, is we've sort of zoomed out already, and you got to go way back. So I feel like we got to figure out what this story is, how it accrues to some of their revenues, and what that means as far as income statement, earnings, what exactly is going on with FUBO, and tomorrow you'll probably get some price target upgrades. So let's see where those are. But you are right by looking at this name as a possible second day runner. I mean, up 242% with 623 million in volume. We went long right away early on that $3 break. $4 break right here, not great. I mean, great early. Good late on late in the morning, moved to the downside there right off open. That's 9:30. We flattened out of this trade at 11 o'clock at $4. There's $5. So 5 has been a pretty good top there for FUBO as we go. I cannot believe we were short both NVIDIA and Palantir. Both these names really coming back in now. Amazon and NVIDIA as the market gives back a little bit. Occidental, what has oil been doing? I got to fill up the car here. I think this is battled back quite nicely here, Oxy, right? Yeah, 46, man, up to $51. Nice couple days here for the oil patch. That's Occidental. Let me see what XOM is doing right now. XOM. All right, NASDAQ up 0.9, XOM flat to down. Wow, 107. Yeah, this name's been really getting kicked as well. You've tried to pick up some value. We talked about XLE and Chevron and some of these other names. Look at XOM.
They all stink right now.
Yeah, down into the dull.
You know what part of the problem is with the... Actually, this might be, I was saying this to Raider on Friday.
Okay.
The XLE, like when you have the moves in Constellation and... yeah, like they're not in the XLE, like the Constellations and some of the other potential like nuclear names, they're in the utilities ETF.
Okay.
So like the more I look at it, I'm like, okay, well I like the XLE, but you mean I get no exposure in the XLE to a name like Constellation, which has been an absolute banger? It kind of stinks. I almost wonder like if I shouldn't be trimming some XLE and then putting some into the XLU. Right. To even it out a little bit. Like, why isn't there, and maybe there is, and I'm just an idiot.
There is probably.
Yeah, they're usually.
I don't even know what you're going to say.
No, you know what I'm going to say. Like, there's an ETF for everything, and you guys are going to tell me, hey, Neil, here's this ETF that gets you the same oil names that you happen to own or happen to like that are in XLE, but you also get some of the utilities in the space. Right. So if there is one out there and you want to save me from asking...
ChatGPT.
Well, I was going to say Perplexity, or we always say ChatGPT.
I don't know what I use more often.
Or Copilot. I have Copilot up right now.
Isn't that GPT, right? It's Copilot.
I know, but I like to give the shout out. I like to give the shout out to Microsoft because at the end of the day, they've been having trouble monetizing. So every chance.
But you're using it for free. See, that's the problem.
I know. Nobody wants. Everyone thinks they're having trouble monetizing. They'll get there eventually, Microsoft. But I would be interested to see if there was another ETF out there. Chef Joe, XLY.
XLY?
But that's consumer discretionary. There's an ETF. Yeah, you guys just let me know.
There's an ETF for everything.
Yeah, I'm sure there is one. I could probably just look it up myself. But with only 7 minutes to go till the imbalances, I just covered Micron. Intel hasn't broken out yet, but with the bounce in the market, I do feel like it is trying to go. It's trying to break out this 1997. So I don't want to add to it. We'll just kind of hold on to what we have. Farat's in the chat there just said hold FUBO. I'm assuming you mean FUBO.
Yes.
Which is fine. I've made that mistake so many times.
You can wear FUBO.
You can wear FUBO. Actually, I don't even know if FUBO's as big of a deal anymore.
As big of a deal? I don't know. Do they exist?
Well, I'm sure they do. You don't think FUBO exists? I'm sure FUBO's still around. It was a big deal when we were younger. But FUBO... I'll say the same thing we say every single time when a stock does this. No one ever went broke taking profit. There is a very large difference between having a trade on effectively a penny stock, go deep in the money, get a double up or a triple up, cover your for profit, and then let it roll. I've done it plenty of times. What I can tell you is every single time in my adult life, because obviously I didn't invest when I was a kid, where I have taken a shot on a penny stock, and I've done it before, where I didn't take profit. When you got a move like this, I've looked like a darn fool. I once had a complete double up on a garbage stock that should have been bankrupt. And this is early in my trading career. And I remember literally celebrating on the trading floor, talking to everybody about how great a pick it was. And I covered nothing and ended up losing like 10% on it when it came all the way back in. So as usual, I think you just have to have a plan of action when you get into these things. And if taking profit isn't one of them, then I don't know what more could you be asking for if you were in any kind of an early move or early breakout on FUBO. So yeah, holding on to some, it is a good piece of news that they have going for them. And the volume is fantastic. There's nothing wrong with holding on to some. I like it when a stock holds on big volume near the highs. It's generally a good sign. But I mean, come on, it's up 250%. Like if you're not happy with some of that, I just never really understand what the plan of action is.
And that's it.
You got to have your own plan. That's the thing.
I mean, you have to ask yourself, like, when you wake up tomorrow, is it going to matter if you've lost it all? And I mean, I'm not trying to say it's going to go to zero or anything like that, but this whole like party on situation could all come back. So you just got to have that plan of action, feel out, is that something that you can sort of stomach? Because just because it goes down tomorrow doesn't mean that it's not going to be right back up tomorrow as well, right? So you can always reload the positions. So think about that as a strategy as well. Get something out now, only to reload it later. That's always, a plan of action that can be done. And we talk about that all the time here live on the show, but it can be done in real life too.
Yes.
Especially if you're going to take options, plays, and various things like that. You can get some interesting calls. Wait for Chef Joe. Joe on the midday show. They're talking all about options as well.
Joe does cook up some good options ideas.
He's cooking up the ideas. Yeah, he wasn't too happy getting out of some IBIT there, he was telling me, but so as what goes up goes down there, especially in the crypto space. So I'm not.
I don't like ever selling Bitcoin. Sometimes maybe moving it.
It always has a way of making you feel.
Move a little bit into like an alt if you think that's going, but oh goodness.
I always thought there should be a crypto, like a legit. And I'm sure, and again, I feel like the chat needs to help this out. Like, there should be a crypto ETF of like the top 10 or 15 like altcoins.
It's gonna. We're getting there.
And there probably is that. You can invest like a HUD 8 or something like that. That moves.
Fabian says we should start it.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, because we should navigate all of the.
Yes.
All of those headaches.
Yes.
Was there another?
We could partner with Kevin.
Oh my goodness. We got another super chat. So we have 3 minutes. 3 minutes to go till the imbalances. Still no update unless you care about PCG. That's now a 3 million sell. But Mashal again, dear team, thank you for your dedication to sharing valuable knowledge. Your efforts allow us to benefit from your insights wherever we are. Your hard work and passion are deeply appreciated. Well, I can tell you we appreciate you as well. And Ari Pages, this is the kind of community we have here. Ari Page is one of our regular viewers, giving the shout outs, and we value you being here. We value everybody. There's no such thing as a bad question as far as I'm concerned. We get questions that maybe you've just started trading in the basics. We talk a little bit fast because it comes easy to us, having traded over 20 years, and the terminology sometimes gets a little bit, let's just say, muddled. But we value every single person here. So don't hesitate. Make sure you hit the subscribe. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you share it with your friends and let them know that you found the realest trading show out there. As far as we're concerned, I pretty much the only one, really. What the heck just happened to NVIDIA?
I don't want to talk about it.
Well,
NVIDIA with the move downside there. I'm just playing around. Don't want to talk about it. We were short NVIDIA, like as if.
What the heck?
Right there, nice move to the downside right now for NVIDIA. I'm having a problem with my earpiece, so I don't think it's really working anymore, but I don't know if you heard anything on it, but right now it is making the move down, so I promise to get that fixed for tomorrow. But right now, nice move to the downside right there for NVIDIA, really cracking. We have, again, part of our community, we wanted to give a big shout out to Miss Adara, who's added a lot as far as being able to, he's giving Brendan, Brendan's always been on the desk with us as well, but Adara got that sort of that trading experience and now lets us know if there's been any sort of information that we need to focus on here in the news world. And that's obviously something that's been sort of a game changer for our platform and for you guys watching. We want to thank everybody for all the nice comments about, us getting you sometimes the stories even before they hit. Like, for example, VinFast. Now, I didn't make any money on this trade, but we got in I was looking at it right here when it hit. Nice upside move before making the move all the way back down again. But yeah, it looks like NVIDIA right now will scatter hour to see if there's anything happening. Remember, imbalances in 1 minute, Neil. So that could be something, as we'll wait to see. I'm going to
watch it come out of sell. Somebody new.
Yeah, maybe. And if you guys have any sort of inside on, and not talking about inside trading, inside on where to find early mock imbalance data. We only have it for NYSE. We're unable to find a resource there for NASDAQ because we don't think it exists, though.
It might not exist for the NASDAQ. The NYSE, the difference being, with only about a minute to go, and we did get a couple super chats. On the other side of the imbalances, we will address them. We do have Rohit. I see you there, and Jackson as well. But no, we get the early look on the New York because they had that handheld system, right? So all of the orders going into the close, there's still an actual floor, so they get those early looks in, and so there are orders going into those different sources, and that's the traders on the floor. Then sometimes you get different opportunities to be able to get an idea where they might come out. Right now, it's just PCG to the sell side, CNQ to the buy side. And in about 5 seconds, we'll see the big names come in. I wouldn't be surprised if NVIDIA was going to have one.
There we go.
They should be out. Where are we? Yeah, NVIDIA. Well, it's a buy. 3.7 million to the buy side on NVIDIA. So go figure. Apple, 2 million to the buy side as well. So it dumps only to have a buy imbalance and flip it on them there. You got to be kidding me. That's so dirty. Oh, that's dirty. Tank the stock $1.50. And then the buy imbalance comes in to pick it right back up. So that might have, maybe some of that came in after that big selling happening in NVIDIA. For a 3% up stock, it didn't have a very good afternoon, but still, it's up 3%. Can't really hate on that. So it's just Apple and NVIDIA. Apple did a small move, not much, maybe 50, 60 cents, I guess, on Apple. That's really kind of a nothing burger there. 922 million to buy is the overall. The NASDAQ is 700 million to buy. The Dow 280. And the Mag 7, 750 to buy. Those aren't terribly big. It's really just NVIDIA that stands out. I gotta get out of this. Intel's basically stopped moving.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's the thing. And if you notice the imbalances either maybe aren't your way or they are your way or whatever, it's back and forth all the time with these as you get closer and closer to being closing of the day here and they start to pair off, right? And so we're pretty smart there finally, and we were able to get out of Palantir just before the imbalances. You might have heard me under my breath. We had a nice move to the downside. We talked about shorting in and around that 76.50. We were waiting for 77s. It does pull back. We get out of Dodge for that name, and of course that is going to be Palantir. So nice.
I wanted to get to the super chat.
Nice cover. Yeah, go quick.
So first, I'll get to Jackson. Just thank you for the super chat in general. There was no question, so we just appreciate you and we appreciate all of you. And we got to Marshall as well. But Rohit asked specifically, why is Lyft down despite many large green volume bars and a few small red ones? You're trying to learn. Thanks. First of all, I think you came to the right place, and I'm willing to bet that as we're a little bit late getting to this, I bet you a couple of people in the chat probably did a good job of answering this as well. So you have to consider that, yes, and let me just do this so that the volume's a little bit bigger. Yeah, if you look at all the biggest volume bars in the afternoon on Lyft, yeah, they all happen to be green. But unfortunately, that only tells one side of the story. So just because you have big volume in intermittent moments buying through, if that's met with the other side of the trade, which is just a lot of people sitting on the ask at relative prices, waiting around to sell, then you can still have the sellers win even on a green upward bar, because that's just going to reflect that in the moment you had a little bit more buying volume off the ask to the upside. And ultimately, if there's sellers meeting it at every single push and overall that's what's winning, those bars don't matter. Ultimately, when you're looking at momentum, you do want there to be big volume to the upside, but I think you got to look better at trend. I use volume for things like if it were holding this bottom right here, let's say you make a bottom candle wick and it breaks the low of the day and then proceeds back to the upside, and then that is the biggest red candle of the day, I actually think that's bullish, because what that tells me is the low of the day was met by a ton of selling and decided to close higher anyways. So a lot of dumping in there, and I actually think that's a bullish candle. If there's a gigantic red candle at a low, now unfortunately I can't find one here. Actually there is one right here if you go back to the 31st, where it's breaking lower, and that's the biggest red candle, and then it goes back to the upside. it's almost like capitulation selling. Like it's that last ditch panic selling. So just because bars are green or red on your volume, it's not that much of an indicator, and oftentimes it can mean almost the exact opposite. And now Tesla's back to green again? Okay.
Market is...
Tesla dumped to 404 from 409. It's back at 410. NVIDIA dumped from 150 to 148.5. It's back almost at 150. So it looks like this buying came out in full force. Usually that hasn't been happening lately. You get the fact that you can't do buybacks in the last 10 minutes, and if we start going to the downside, we usually continue in the last 10 minutes to the downside. So I'm not going to put anything new on. Do join myself and Adara and also Michael Noss in the market recap show today. Lots to recap, whether it's moves in the nuclear names, whether it's moves in the chip names, covering a little bit of CES, Tesla's ridiculous day today, lots to talk about, and of course FUBO, which has
Everybody wants to know more about FUBO. We're going to try the reversion in NVIDIA here because it's been a big bid, so we're going to see if we do. So we're going to go short for a minute here and see where we get the fill. Okay, good trade, man, good trade. Yes, sir. All right, bang. Good little, okay. Yeah, all right, so there it is, man. I don't want to... I feel like I'm spilling the magic beans here. Maybe I shouldn't do that too much. Yeah, nothing to see here, guys. Just 40 cents in 5 seconds right there on NVIDIA. So, man, you're now rocking, hopefully, with the best. I mean, we talked about Trader TV Live and what we're showing you. There's the market on close imbalances. And we just went short there, playing off of those imbalances, thinking, yes, give it to me. Yeah, there it is, man. 50 cents now. We've got a 25 fill. Let's get another 30 fill if we can. We only have, how many shares do we have? Probably about 20% left. Okay, there we go. Got another 31. All right. More. We were just watching that bid evaporate there, and then it turns around right on a dime right there at 355. So boom, nice trade to the downside there for NVIDIA to finish the day as we get more bids down there. Okay, but another bid at 21. Can we get it? Yes, we can. There it is, man. Neil, that was pretty easy, man. That was 40 cents right there now, plus in the money as we still have over about 15% left. Let's put another bid in the 12s if we can do that with only 4 minutes to go. There it goes. Nice trade at the end of the day there on NVIDIA. All right, you mentioned Tesla. Right, we have less than 10% left of that trade. Maybe we'll punch out at 410. Yeah, good move there. Tesla zeros, double zeros up there right now for Tesla, which was really up there today. We did have some great fills earlier on, 426, 427s, like huge upside move there for Tesla early on before really fading back the rest of the day. So be careful with all of y'all Tesla positions. Bid out again down here. There we go. We'll take a 37 fill right there, and now we'll wait to see if we can get any lower. Just 3 minutes left. So you're going to get ready to go up to the big desk. You got Michael Noss on board.
I was just, before we were about to get up there was another super chat. I was literally responding to it, and then it stopped letting me respond in the chat. I was going to get up to the desk here. Jonathan Alberto. First off, great catch on XTIA. I don't know anything about this stock, except that it's a penny stock. It's done 1 billion shares, and I couldn't find a news catalyst on it. So maybe throw it on. I'm going to definitely throw this on a watch list. A billion in volume for 8-cent stock.
Wow.
Obviously, everything relative. And then you asked about NARI. There's deal speculation that they could have a deal announced tomorrow. Just possible M&A. That's why that is to the upside. So thank you for the super chat, Jonathan. Thank you to everybody for the great participation and all the super chats. We're just trying to have a little bit of fun here, and we do appreciate you guys for sure. That's a good look on XTIA. That's what you want to see on a penny stock. Actual volume to go along with the movement as opposed to ridiculous spreads and all that other nonsense. So great catch there, and thank you very much. And Marty as well, appreciate you. I'm going to get up to the desk. We'll take care. Good look. We'll see you at the desk.
Oh, yeah, get over there. Don't trip on anything, All right, only 2 minutes left right now. There it is, Marty. I guess this for me, obviously. Nice NVIDIA trade. We missed that still long on big position. Why did I short there? Yeah, I mean, this is, if you come over to the screen, thank you, Marty, for that super chat for sure. All right, so there's a major pairing event that happens on the imbalance, right? I've been... pretty much, if you guys are looking for imbalance trades, I've been making them recently. So try to do it again tomorrow. We did it a little bit there on some of the rebalances. We had Palantir great last week or a couple weeks ago before Christmas break there on the rebalancing in December. That was a monster trade. I think that was like $3 or $4. And then again, another minute there on playing the imbalance. We had a big bid there for NVIDIA. So at 350 when it came out, you saw NVIDIA off of a whoops to the downside there on news or something breaking. Rip up to the upside on what's a fugaze, right? I mean, all you do is get bids coming in here and then it gets taken the other way. So it's like all these get paired off at some point. Now, whether or not it pairs off at the end of the day or, you know, right away, it happens at 355 is a big pairing event. So you just sometimes get lucky. That's why we take, well, I only have less than 5% left. That's why when it comes in like this, right off the jump, we start just getting it out as much as we can right there, because once it pairs off, then it'll just go back into the ether and start trading again. So just stay tuned tomorrow, Marty, and I'll do a little bit better. Hopefully, I don't know about better, but another explanation coming through on that one as well. All right, so I'm going to cancel all these NVIDIA shorts now because I'm fine with where we are. Put a bid down here in the teens. See if we do get that to end the day there on NVDA. The countdown is now on with only 10 seconds left right there. Hey, Adair, how's it going? Now we have less than 5, 6, 5, 4, 3. It's a little bit early. 2 and 1. There it goes. Thank you, Miss Adara. We want to thank all of our wonderful sponsors today. Thank you for the continued support. We want to thank Joe and Obi. Thanks, Obi, for filling in for Sharif. We'll be off tomorrow as well, so you'll get Obi and Joe again tomorrow. Thanks, Brendo, for this morning. Oh, no, he actually wasn't on air this morning. Thanks, Adara and Sharif, for the morning show. Obi, Joe, Neil, of course. Fabian's over there. Ramin is there, I think, somewhere. Andre as well there today. If you don't give Ramin acknowledgement, it's bad. So I'll acknowledge her a couple more times there today. She got the nice little toque on there. It is freezing, by the way, in lovely Toronto right now. It was feeling like, yeah, so right now we're feeling like minus 14, which is a lot, like minus 7 right now. Remember, 0 Celsius is 32. So we are below right now. Stay warm. Stay excited, because right now it's Michael Noss coming in a couple minutes with Neil and Adara. But make sure you stay tuned for our market recap show. Light on earnings, but heavy on talent. It is Neil and Adara. I'll check everyone tomorrow at 8:30. Ciao. Thanks, Bears vs. Bulls.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Sean. Like, not a lot of earnings, although we do start to get some. I believe we have at least one of the airlines at the end of the week.
Thursday and Friday. We have Delta.
Delta.
I believe Friday morning or Thursday night to kick things off here for sure. Also, WBA is going to be coming at the end of the week as well. So they're actually up on the year, which is shocking. I'm trying to put together some graphics for the Thursday stream. And one thing I want to look at is what are the top performers so far this year. So that, keep an eye out on TTV research. That's probably going to be coming up pretty soon.
Well, and this is the fun part about the beginning of the year, because at least you can say something like, hey, Walgreens is up this year. Let's go Walgreens, because you just have to be up for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Although it's been more than a few days. Yeah, well, on a day where the market is up, maybe starting by looking at Walgreens is not the best look, but let's be real for a quick little second. You had chips. There were some dips, but mostly it was rips all day long. Everything got started out overnight when we had Foxconn come out with blowout revenue numbers. That brought ASML when it opened up in Amsterdam to the upside, and then you saw just chip name after chip name. NVIDIA closes, even after that downward push, NVIDIA closes up 3.5%. So big day for them. ARM, which we didn't really talk too much about, up 4.5%. AMD up 3 1/3. And by the way, it closes above the channel. So AMD on the midst of a little bit of a breakout. Not all chip names did very well. Intel did make a tease on at their CES presentation, or lack thereof, and it's down 3%. So a bit of a fail for them. And I saved the best for last, because I'm not saying Micron is the best chip name out there, but it is the one up double digits today. Micron up 10.5%. It also had a bit of a pullback. What I love about this, you've made a firm bottom here on Micron after earnings, and you're now breaking back just slightly under the 50-period moving average. But this one's starting to get off the schneid, like what we've seen from Micron. We had news with Uber, although I I still feel like maybe this has more work to be done with Uber to get past the 50. They did announce a $1.5 billion accelerated buyback program, so a good look for them on Uber. Only up 2.5%. It was up a bunch more in the pre-marketed era.
Yeah, I think the thing with Uber too that's interesting is so this is part of an existing buyback program, which was not super clear right away. So it's a $7 billion buyback program. They said they're trying to accelerate it because they think they're strong coming into 2025. They think the shares are undervalued and they want to push higher. So it does seem like a little bit stock pumping potential for sure. But I mean, ZJK did the same thing today. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a company called ZJK Industries. They have about 41 followers on X, and they shared a post, which is just a gif of Jensen Huang, and they said, announcement imminent at CES. So I looked up, are they attending CES at one of their official CES website? That appears to be a no. So, I mean, congrats to you, ZJK. You caused a low volume pump on what appears to be zero catalyst. To be clear, they have collaborated with NVIDIA in the past, but it does not seem like there's any announcement coming tomorrow, but I guess we'll have to wait out and find out. Shout out to the social media team of ZJK.
Well, you never know. Maybe Jensen's going to throw their company name out there.
Who knows?
And let's be real for a second. If Jensen so much as mentions a small cap stock.
Oh, yeah.
And it could be a form of praise. It could be an offhand comment. It's probably going to be tradable. And that's ultimately that's what we care about. That ZJK, it giveth, it taketh away, all of that good stuff. It does end up, for those that were following it, I mean, it still ends up, but once it failed that 15, I think that was pretty much all she wrote for it on the day. At the end of the day, there were some movers, and I can't believe, and what a great shout out, and appreciate that super chat, that XTIA, which was that penny stock, like right at the end of the day, we got a super chat about this. It was underneath 8 cents. It actually broke in the aftermarket all the way up to 12. Now starting to come back in. So it's still trading, got up to about 10. It did do over 1 billion shares in volume, so about 6 times its float on this XTI Aerospace Inc. Not really sure what the catalyst was here.
I couldn't find one either.
Yeah, I mean, Dara, you couldn't find a catalyst for XTI. It's certainly possible there is one that we just haven't found. And then other times you can find out that it's just, hey, it could just be somebody on a Reddit. So no one ever went broke taking profits. The other big runner was FUBO. FUBO TV today, Adara. Not only is it up 250%, but all of this volume, 2/3 of $1 billion in volume, and it still holds the highs on that kind of ridiculous volume. It doesn't even have a very large pullback. So this one might not be done. What an unbelievable day for FUBO.
Yeah, that's an insane performance there for FUBO. This is interesting. Initially, Bloomberg reporting that they're going to be basically doing this deal with Disney. Then the company actually confirms it. The timing was pretty good there. And then also, interestingly enough, on the conference call, we did have the FUBO CEO, and it wasn't even that bullish of a conference call, other than, of course, the understandable bullishness of the Disney deal. But they maintain their guidance, which I was kind of shocked by. You have a deal with Disney, you're maintaining your guidance. I thought that would give it a little bit of drop. It did not. People did not care. The way that reclaimed that rounded bottom, I saw that, and if I was a penny stock trader, I probably would have tried it, but you gotta know what you do, and you gotta just stick with what you do. But anyway, so FUBO, that was a great recovery for FUBO, which does have about a 12.4% short float. I'm assuming that also helped with its nice little ascension to the top. We'll see what it does tomorrow, because that could be interesting.
Yeah, and you know what? The interesting thing is, I know a few people that we used to always sort of talk about different streaming opportunities and it all being about sports, but I know some people that absolutely swear by and love FUBO. So big shout out to FUBO. Congratulations to them. I am surprised, like you, Adara, that if you affirm your guidance after a positive, this kind of positive news, which you think would be able to boost revenues, it could be a bit of a bad sign. But let's be real, you're in rarefied air now. The only thing that half concerns me is if you go all the way back to 2022, the last time it made a big run, I'm talking about from $2 to $8, the actual next day it held $5.40, and then the next bounced held $5.25. That's where the selling was today. So if you're going to close at $5, you better break out $5.25 tomorrow. The idea that you'd close up here means that there was accumulation up at that top, and if it doesn't follow with a $5.25 breakout, then I think a pullback into maybe these prior highs at 380 could be there. So you're going to want to make sure you get a little bit of a break especially. And 007 in the chat, 007 Kyle, not to be confused with FUBO. Absolutely right. Tisha Perkins saying DHAI also making some runs. There's a lot of runners that were happening late in the day. I didn't really catch that one. We had that Nari as well, be a bit of a mover. DHI Holdings, yeah, like nice move for it. Nice move for them too, up 93%, and a late move here at the close. Looks like sometimes you get a name that's up a bunch. You have the stop. You have like less stop orders. You have less predatory algos out there in the aftermarket, and you can get these aftermarket runs. So just be careful. Not as much liquidity is going to be out here. I know DIH is making a bit of a move, and it did already try to pull back here. Just be careful. If you're trading in the aftermarket, make sure you know your rules at your brokers. Some brokers might be less gateways available. You might not have stop orders like you do in the open market. Just make sure you know what you're getting yourself into when you are trading, especially these names in the aftermarket here, these smaller type names. They can be a little bit dangerous. So just wanted to get to one more thing. I know we're going to have Michael Noss coming through, the Noss boss himself. I do believe he's almost ready to go.
He's just chilling in the waiting room.
He's just sort of chilling out.
He's always ready.
I wanted to acknowledge here, Tesla able to go green at the end of the day. So, and it's not just that it went green, it's where it's gone green on Tesla. And I'll pop up a 15-minute so you can have an idea. Tesla, just at the end of the day, getting above the top end where this dumped on those deliveries last week. It was right at about $411, which was a prior day resistance level. So the fact that we're recovering to that, oh baby, if you can hold a 410, 411 tomorrow, I think Tesla, if you look at it from Friday to today, all it did is put a higher low in. And I think someone just in the chat was asking what the purple and the greens are on this chart. So purple is going to be a 50 period, and the green is going to be a 200 period simple moving average. So that's a quick answer for that there. I do believe we get like the heads up. Let me know if we are locked and loaded and ready to go with some trader talk with Michael Noss. There he is. We've got the Noss boss in the house, our resident CMT and charting expert, who also has been giving out some rather explosive crypto opportunities out there. Welcome. I haven't talked to you since this morning, Michael. Glad to see you again.
Glad to see you too. Yeah, it's a wild world there in crypto. I don't know what kind of universe we're in right now, but I'll continue to trade it as long as it's this much fun and this profitable.
Well, I can tell you what the universe we're not in is the crypto winter. Yet.
Yes.
It may be winter. I don't know how cold it is out east. I can tell you here, we're at minus 14. I think Sean was saying minus 14 with the wind chill. So it's pretty cold here in Toronto, out east sometimes as well. But definitely we're heating up. Bitcoin's above 100,000. We tagged 102. You know that usually bodes well for the overall market. I still think you've got, and just talking more about IBIT in general or Bitcoin in general, I still think you have some ways to go. The fact that we've held on, and this is IBIT, but these corresponding levels are going to be down around that 90 to 92,000 level. So now that we've made the hole underneath 100,000, I mean, at least a retest of that top, I would think is going to be in play. But I keep coming back to what you've said before. We got the big breakout. If we're just going to be sideways, should we not be thinking about profit taking or pullbacks when we get back to that high if we're in what seems more of a sideways market in crypto or in Bitcoin?
Yeah, Bitcoin, again, it gets its headlines when it goes crazy, but it spends most of its time range bound, right? So if we look at this box that it was doing all year, this was 70,000 to 55. It's a big range if you're that kind of trader who wants to buy highs and sell lows. It's fantastic. I'm not convinced yet that we're not just in a range right here again, where we're talking 90,000. I believe it was last Monday when I was here talking to you, and it was around there, and it looked like it was holding. So are we just going to hit these highs and sell back off? I don't know. I'm not someone who likes to trade ranges like these. They frustrate me more than anything. But what I'm looking to do is just to see a break. So if we can get through that and hold, you're talking the 110 area, then maybe another leg to 120. But I am worried that we're entering another one of these ranges where, again, crypto for very short periods of time, or Bitcoin in particular, for very short periods of time is wild. For very long periods of time is choppy. So it becomes an exercise of make your money when the momentum's there and have the patience to keep it when we enter ranges like this.
So if we're in this range, and this is the type of situation that we're in for Bitcoin, this should give us trading opportunities. So obviously, I mean, for traders that were looking at something like an equity like MSTR today, that had a blowout day despite there not being that much continuation. You didn't get the fresh highs, but MSTR was still able to do double digits. What altcoins are out there? Because I know I laugh every single time I say Farcoin, but what are you supposed, seriously? And of course, I just hear somebody on the team just made a nice little funny noise as I said that, but it keeps on going higher. Shout out to Fabian.
Yes.
Keeps on going higher. Are there any other ones that you're looking at for this mania that you're seeing in some of the altcoins?
There is one that I'm in that I don't even think I'll say the name of on stream. Where you can talk to Brendan about that. We've been in Google chat laughing about it, but has 12x'd in the last 2 or 3 days, which is just insane. And it's a play off of Fartcoin, so I'm sure people could probably figure it out. Pepe of all things. I have no idea what these coins do. I have no idea what kind of the utility behind them is, but with Pepe coin, we've had this big break of this prior high, which is 0.0000017 cents. There's got to be a better way to say that. Broke through that, came back, and just to show you that technical analysis is universal, came right back to those prior highs, held it as support. So if we can get a move in Bitcoin, I think this one's interesting. I've been talking about this mana for a long period of time. That's actually not ETF. There's a trust, so there is a mana trust if you guys want to trade that. But we got a little bit to go here. But with this mana, there's a massive area of resistance here, and this is a gaming Web3 token, so you can buy and sell digital real estate because that's the kind of world we're in. Triple top here, kind of 82 cents. Every time we've hit there, we've been pulling back. But this time when we pulled back, we got a little bit of a shallow pullback. So I have an alert and some orders set on mana. If we can get through this 82, 83 cents, it ends up just being a smiley face. And I'd say all the time, I've been trained to buy smiley faces and sell frowny faces. This is starting to look like a bit of a smiley face for me if we can get above that 82 cents. Now, it's one of these things that I trade these just purely technical because I'm just kind of treating them as if none of them have any utility. I know there's a lot of people that play this game and they might get mad at me for that, but I'm just looking at this purely technically, right? We got a triple top here. If that triple top breaks, there's going to be a whole bunch of short people that I think need to cover, some long chasing coming up. And that's not the problem is you got to find the right exchange for them. Let's try Kraken here. If you go to the all-time highs, this is how I've been talking about how I've been playing these things, where if they get through the anchored VWAP from all-time highs, then I think that's the move. So I'm hoping this 80-cent break gets us to 150, which would already be a double. And that's the anchored VWAP from all-time highs. Through that, things look really interesting. And the proof I have for this kind of trading setup is there's a lot of it, but if you look at Doge, and if you anchor to VWAP right there from Doge, you can see as soon as we got through that, that was the great move. You can look at Pepe, you can look at Solana, you can look at all these different coins. This all-time high anchored VWAP is super, super interesting.
Yeah, great look there, Michael. I have a question for you about, well, I mean, I think everyone understands the deal of the risk when it comes to altcoins in here, right? So when you're taking trades on this, it's not like anyone's going to start comparing you to the character on the new Squid Game. I don't know if you've watched it yet, but...
Not yet.
Okay, you got to check it out. Because there's a crypto connection with one of... Whoa, that was really loud. One of the characters. That's all. I don't want to spoil anything more than that, but there is like a kind of a weird little crypto element to it. But when it comes to making these trades, like if you're really technical, you want to make sure you have your outs technically. Like if it breaks a certain level, you want to be able to get out. how does slippage factor in here? Because I know when we've seen drawbacks I know it happens in Bitcoin, it happens in ETH, the things that I'm involved in. Sometimes when you lose the bid, there aren't always the clean outs. How do you factor that into your risk analysis for these? Like, would you consider, okay, I'm going to have a tighter stop or exit point here because I feel like if it gets past X, it'll slip a little bit further? Or is that not a consideration at all? Because that would be, I think, some people's fear that when these do drop, they can drop rapidly.
Yeah, and I'm treating these kind of more like call options with instead, where I'm buying these things and just assuming that if it goes to zero tomorrow, then I'll go outside and kick rocks and be a little upset. But it's not, the entire crypto side of things here is a small percentage of my total trading account, and then inside that, it's even smaller still in those. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm going to assume always when I'm looking at this that I'm getting another 10-20% slippage on the out I want, and just being okay with that. Like with mana that we just talked about, where if I'm right, and even if we get to the anchored VWAP from all-time highs, I was talking about that's a double. So then I treat it like, if I lose 50% on, say I get in at 80 and by the time my stop gets hit, we're at 40. Well, that's still a good trade. I lost 50%, but I'm going for a double. So it's not like I look at this and say, oh, I could double my money. Let me put $100,000 in there, right? These are smaller trades, because if I'm right and then we get through that anchored VWAP and then maybe it gets to all-time highs at $5, you're talking massive percentage gains. And then to do that, I just really, really size down my risk. It's the same as if I was buying a biotech or something like that. And I expect that bad trial results could cause a massive gap down.
Yeah, it's a fantastic point. I'm glad you explained that to everybody. I think it's always really important to try to keep that in mind, Michael. And it does also come with making sure that you maybe take some profit as well on the way to that upside. There were a couple of things, and I know we're going to get to it in just a bit of a second. Just for anyone that happens to be watching, Meta is up in the aftermarket because Dana White has joined Meta's board. You can believe that. And then Ulta Beauty is heading to the downside with their CEO retiring. So Ulta, well, it was down and now it's actually up. So sometimes you never really know, but obviously heading back in to the upside. Just a very quick question for you, because in terms of the overall market, you've talked about the beginning of the year, the first 5 trading days and the first month having a big significance for us. So obviously things are still up in the air how the first 5 trading days are going to go. Right now it's looking pretty good, I would like to think. How obviously it lent more to if we were down in the first 5 days and down in also in January, statistically that's really bad. But if you look at what's going on with the SPY here, let me just go to a daily chart back again. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but double bottom, which I know you've talked about, and a hold of the 50 period. If all we do in the first week is hold the 50 period, I feel like we've got a little bit of a short-term momentum trade going into the inauguration now, keeping in mind that that's going to be an event on its own. So how do you feel so far at the start of the year? Typically, January has been a bullish month.
Yeah, and just for, again, the people who miss it, the first 5 days rule basically says if you were up in the first 5 days of January, you have an 85% chance, 83, I believe to be exact, of being up that year, which is great. And the average return is much higher than if you're down. I think the average return, if you're down those first 5 days, is like 2%, because there's still a probability that the market's up. But the average up if you're in those first 5 days is 12, right? So it's just a massive, massive boon. So yeah, you're right. We're up. We're still up from the first 5 days so far. So we're keeping an eye on that. So I'm just watching carefully. But you're right. If we did nothing, if we just consolidated sideways for the next few days, that would be enough. However, I believe there's some FOMC stuff coming Wednesday, and I think Wednesday is that 5th day. So as long as J Pow doesn't, I think it's just the minutes, but as long as he doesn't mess up anything, then so far we're looking good. Now, technically, and I have it up here, is for the SPY. One thing that I love is everybody in the world that I saw from all my technician nerd buddies was talking about this potential head and shoulders top. And the best head and shoulders tops that are out there are the ones that aren't. When you have a pattern like this that everybody starts betting bearish against, and that doesn't end up happening, those are very, very interesting to me, because what you have is a lot of people who are either positioned short or positioned in cash because they think this head and shoulders top is going to push us lower. And when those don't occur, quite often those are the best kind of tops that you can get. So Nvidia, for example, had one of those same things. I saw a lot of technicians out there kind of drawing the head and shoulders top like this and just saying, well, there's your shoulder, and then, you know, here's your head, and then we had another shoulder over here. And that didn't happen. And at one point today, we were either at all-time highs or very, very close. So if the same thing is going to happen to the S&P 500, there's a whole bunch of bullish tailwinds. But like you mentioned, I'm really, really watching the first 5 days. It's actually what this line I have right here on my charts. This is the first day of the year. This is December 31st. So 5 candles after this would get us to that 5 days. So I'm watching it super, super closely.
Yeah, I think it's a great looking setup. I mean, Nvidia, hey, it's been the bell of the ball. Why stray too far away from it? Also notice you have very good penmanship drawing those little shoulder ups. I used to do that live on the show sometimes. I'll stick with trend lines because usually most applications will allow me to draw a straight line without any work. Anytime I try to live, hey, there's a rounded bottom, I end up just sort of embarrassing myself. But we're here for those technicals. I think Nvidia looks fantastic. I would say there's a few other chip names that have a good look, and always worth noting like what holds up on strength on days like today. Like when all the chip names go up, I'm always interested in, hey, well, what was the thing that didn't really pull back at the end of the day? And ARM didn't pull back, oddly enough.
That's interesting.
Which I thought was at least a little bit interesting. Before we get you out of here, Michael, any other final thoughts that you have for us, whether it's crypto market, maybe something we forgot to look at there? I know we know natural gas has been moving around quite a bit, so I didn't know if there was anything you wanted to add. That is it. It's just the opportunities are abound, and I don't think the recent cold. And if you look at I know there's the storms in the U.S. Some of them have been pretty bad, so hopefully everyone's safe with those snowstorms. That's not hurting, because that's part of the theme why they're getting this bounce in nat gas, is the idea that we're going to get a bit of a rough winter.
Yeah, so, you know, if you guys missed the presentation this morning, I've got the chart up here for natural gas, and me and Neil have mentioned this a bunch of times. So, like, for the last, this is 2022, so for the last 2 years, every single time natural gas from underneath hit the 200-day moving average, it just fell over and over. I have not seen a security respect the 200-day moving average this tightly in a very long time, until a little bit ago. We talked about how I was buying some in through here. I sold a bunch on that pop. And then today I rebought. And the reason for it is we came down and we tested the 200-day moving average again. And then we had this gap up. And intraday, we tried to sell off, fill the gap, failed, closed almost near the high. So I pulled the trigger, bought a little bit more. That was my video in Substack that I did today, was all about that. So natural gas, I have a very clear play. I'm in around 17. I'm out around 15 if we end up breaking that. That to me is a great trade, because if we're getting any kind of a rebound into the 20s or 30s, then you're talking just a massive risk reward. Yeah. Again, you're fighting the Widowmaker. I want to do all the caveats, the same as if you're trading Fartcoin, right? This thing is just crazy. So make sure you're sizing yourself accordingly. But you're talking, you know, if we get into this range, back into this range right here, that's $27 a share. So it's, you know, risking 2 to make 10. So even if I take $1 or so slippage on the downside, then that math still works out for me. Another sector that's kind of getting interesting here as well, that recently got above the same kind of thing, a nice declining 200-day moving average. You can see every time it's hit, it's had a problem. Got above it on this candle, but this is the psychedelic sector. And this candle was that crazy drug stock that went from like $1 to $50 completely out of nowhere. So kind of ignored it there. But we've came back down. We held around the 200-day moving average, and then we're starting to push up again, and we broke that. So that's getting interesting to me as another sector that's out there. And what's really interesting is that as the marijuana sector continues to hit new lows after new lows, the psychedelic sector is starting to perk up. So it shows that these things I think are filling in different parts of the market where psychedelics might be more medical and then marijuana is more kind of recreational or something like that. I don't know if this has to do with the new administration, and I've heard somewhere that RFK was favorable to, I don't know what's doing it, but we're seeing this kind of push up in the psychedelic sector. So that's an area that I want to keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, great look on the technicals, and worth pointing out that 200 period moving average. I'm pretty sure it's been over 2 years since Nat Gas has had consecutive closes over the 200 period moving average. Sometime in 2022 was the last time, somewhere near the end of it. We're going to end it off right there, but I got to read you this, Michael, from one of our viewers, and this is from David Tretiak, I believe. I don't know if Tretiak. Thank you, Michael. You bring a raw, objective view to plays that can be emotional for most. And I think that's probably one of the highest compliments you can get as a trader. So I want to thank you, David, for that. And I want to thank you, Michael, for giving us your knowledge multiple times during the week, morning and afternoon today. And then we'll get a chance to talk to you again at the end of the week. Thank you so much, Michael Nas, CMT from Stats Edge. Appreciate you.
I appreciate the comment. I think that's the beauty of technical analysis, is that we can just look at things as lines on a chart and try not to get too attached. But that was a very nice comment. I appreciate that very much, and I love hanging out and talking with you guys. And we'll get to do it again on Friday. We'll see you Friday morning. Best of luck with that Nat Gas reload. Hopefully that goes to the moon, as it is apt to be able to do. But you have a plan of action as always, Michael, so I know you'll be just fine. Great talking to you, and we'll talk to you on Friday. Talk to you on Friday. Thank you very much to Michael Adara. While all this was going on, there was some news. You found something on that penny stock XTIA, and then Nari, Inari, I should say, Inari, which is Nari, the name we brought in the afternoon, did get a cash offer at $80. They did. So they were in the 60s when the show had closed, but they did eventually get a cash offer at $80 a share. Inari Medical from Stryker. So Stryker buying Inari Medical for $80. What an opportunity that would have been. You don't necessarily know what the premium is going to be, so it's easy enough to say, oh, you could have just bought it here, but at that time you didn't know it was going to be an $80 buyout. Of course, everyone would have piled into it. This is going to be good. Look for some sympathy plays in the in the space tomorrow morning, especially after you get a deal. It's going to be a big deal, big year for deals, I do think. But that penny stock, you finally found news. I'm glad you did. It's not news, but it's some. So I want to show to Jesse Lawson in the chat. Basically, I think it tagged you initially saying, is it true that they're supposed to be delisting on January 6th? So I thought it was interesting. Today is January 6th, right? So if they were going to delist, they would have delisted. So I looked this up on X. I found a couple responses, so I Googled it. There were some rumors spreading on Reddit. And to be clear, this is not verified. It's now been confirmed this is not true. But there were some rumors spreading on Reddit that it was going to delist if it did not get to $1. So it seems like people were very inspired to get this 4-cent stock to $1. For context, currently trading just above 10 cents. Now, they are apparently allowed to appeal their NASDAQ delisting as of January 9th. So keep an eye on this for January 9th. There could be some, I mean, that's the day the market is closed, so I don't really know if that appeal date is going to change, mind you. But that's what I guess the initial filing stated. So keep an eye on XTIA. But as far as I can tell, Jesse Lawson, it is not getting delisted as of yet. Keep an eye on, well, I guess not January 9th, on whenever this appeal gets filed, because this could be interesting. The other thing I'm seeing on Reddit are some people are speculating if they don't get that $1 level, which again, we'd have to like 10x, it'd be pretty hard. I'm not trying to laugh, but pretty bad. If we're not going to get that, the other solution would be reverse splits, which people in the penny stock community, I had to go to Reddit to find this information, are obviously not a huge fan of because of dilution. So we're going to have to wait and see. The one other really quick thing I'd like to say, if I may, is on Ulta. So Ulta had a catalyst as well here. Basically, their CEO going to retire by the end of February 2025, or I think just as of February 2025, and going to be replaced here by the current president and chief operating officer, Keisha Steelman. So I wanted to just pull up, there's a couple gaps on this chart that I find pretty interesting. There's this double top resistance going back to September 2024 at that 410 level. Then we gap up and we hold this as support. So that's really interesting. Now, though, we're actually nearing another gap. So we actually are higher as of right now, post-market. We closed around 431, currently around 443.
A, this is actually a previous level of support that could be interesting resistance. And B, we're opening ourselves up to a whole new gap here down on April 3rd. So quick, resident spread trader just giving you some levels. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, ULTA, if anyone has any questions about that for me in the chat tomorrow, tag me because I like those levels and I like the spread.
The ultimate analysis on Ulta there. What is it, like the Oscars? Like Fabian's throwing up, I don't know whether that was
There was that
automatic.
time, though, at the Golden Globes, the guy just refused to stop speaking.
It does
That's how they do
happen.
it.
I like there's a Dave Chappelle skit where there's like the wrap it up button, and instead of using it at the Oscars, he just uses it at like the dinner table. Like when your old man, which I guess at my house is me, wouldn't shut up. You could just hit the wrap it up. And we need to get on dessert. But thank you very much, everybody. It's been a fun day. It's a wild one. Of course, we're going to have more this week. But you know what we do at this time. Got to get into a little quick roll call. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If you want your name read for a roll call, you need to be in the chat to do it. To be in the chat, you need to be a subscriber. So hit that subscribe button right now if you haven't done so already. And get in there. Give thanks to the entire team. Big shout out to Obi filling in on the midday with our good friend Options. Joe Sharif will be off actually tomorrow, so we'll be doing it again tomorrow. Big shout out on the ones and twos to Fabian, Ramin, Andre on the socials, Brennan on the news desk, and of course Adara filling in almost all day because Brennan was busy this morning. So it was Sharif and Adara on the news desk all day long, and good look there on Ulta Beauty. Give a big shout out to my main man Sean Katina on the desk with myself, and of course, do not forget to say thank you to our guest, Michael, and to the best in the business, our moderator, Bears versus Bulls. So get your name in the chat. I'm going to do mine right now. And thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you to everyone. Thank you to Neil. Thank you to Sean. Thank you to Fabian, Andre, Ramin. We also have, of course, Joe and Joby together today. Shout out to Evitols. And also a very happy Christmas to Sharif. A very Merry Christmas there, because that is why he is off and celebrating. Shout out to Neil, shout out to Bears versus Bulls. Thank you for everything you do as well. Wall Street only, Dean Floyd, Mr. Thumbs Up, Juan Batia, D-Loaf, West, y'all, S.A., Sri R. We have Wall Street only, Xavi, James Ladarkis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I love that. Sounds like a band name. Jorge H. Wall Street only, once again, Michelle Mir. We got Starvin' Like. We got Christian Vergara. We have Celery 2, Wall Street. Oh my God, this Wall Street only. Shout out to you. You keep popping up here and I keep reading your name every time because it's so fun. We have Poor Robin Hood. We've got Christopher Leroy. We have BBot 5000. We also have apparently Ulta raising its guidance. So I think you guys, that looks beautiful for me tomorrow, that ULTA. That's all I'm going to say on that. But yeah, that's it.
Shout out to St. Vincent, beautiful island in the West Indies. You know what? St. Vincent's is great. My parents actually had their honeymoon there. So love the West Indies, love our community, love the opportunity to trade. I know it's a holiday shortened week, but you know what? We're going to be here every single day regardless. We even have some content for you on the Thursday when the market is closed, but we get to do it tomorrow morning. So I expect to see everybody in our community rested and ready to go get it. 8:30 tomorrow morning. We'll see you back. We're Trader TV Live. See you tomorrow.
See ya.